Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. God only knows what this store is going to have installed, but I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and if you would like to join the debate, with the page you are currently watching on mute, simply click the link in the info box to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. Just check it is actually there. Yes, it is. If you do join the panel, there are a couple of rules. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. In a moment, I'm going to transition across to my photograph so I can share the show on social media, and I would encourage anybody who is in the live audience at the moment to please also share the show. Sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, but that in turn increases the likelihood of us having a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Been joined by Sleeping Warrior. Let's just turn the mic up on you, my friend. How you doing, Sleeping Warrior?
Reasonable. I'm hoping that we can have a constructive resolution to the debate today. I'm hoping it doesn't go like it did yesterday, because I won't tolerate being spoke to the way I was yesterday. So I'll be very clear from the start. If it starts descending into that mudslinging bitchiness, I'll be out of here. It's that simple. I'm here to sort stuff, and I'm here to be challenged and critiqued, and I'm up for the debate. But I'm not here to be petulantly called names, childish attacks. It's not happening. So Rumpus, if your approach is to do that again today, I'll just walk, and you can call it running off and you can claim victory. But I'm not going to be playing that game. I'm here to sort stuff, to be attacked, I want debate. I want resolution.
Just don't want ad hominem attacks, basically, is what you're saying. Ad hominem, no. Anything to do with the debate, fine.
Bring some evidence, prove that some stuff's either right, wrong, or inaccurate or whatever, and let's debate it. Let's sort it out. Let's get a resolution. I'm not going to sit here and be the snidey comment subject. I don't mind being mistaken. I don't mind being wrong. I'm not perfect. However, I do expect dignity and a basic level of respect.
Fair enough.
Oh, I see somebody prominent has just joined and then left.
Yeah. I mean, I said this after the show yesterday, you know, if that's the show, that's the show. Going to be another one later anyway, so if people decide that they're going to have fun muting us all the way through the show, didn't make any difference to yesterday's show. We still got 2 hours, we still discussed the finer details. Paul didn't present any evidence to show us how the bottom half of the Isle of Man is a hologram. We didn't get any of that, so we still made our points. They were still clear, didn't make any difference.
I suppose I may as well take advantage of this whilst nobody else is in, because I can speak freely. If you'd share my screen, Nathan, I'd be grateful.
Yep, you're sharing.
Okay. So yes, the point of yesterday's was that this landmass and this town was not what do you call it? I can't remember what it's called. Douglas. And it was the other town. So I spent time last night. Ranty is currently working on it right now. He was out last night with his missus. When he's got the answer, he's going to come in. Hopefully he'll be coming into the chat and he'll show whether it is or whether it's not. Now I'm going to go with the concept, or I'm going to work on the basis that it is. Let's go with the idea that Ranty, whoever, had incorrectly identified this land. Let's go with it's the island, the town that they suggested it was. If I bring up Google Earth, I've got the line of sight in to this town. Now I've got the elevation profile set to 3, so you can see the effect of this land in the front, and you can see the shape of the topography, because basically, for the benefit of everyone watching on screen, if you're watching this on your mobile phone, this is for you. And basically what my view on this is if this is the land, then the problem that you've got is there's only this bit of land left, and it's quite high land, it's not low land, and it kind of stops abruptly. Now, if there is a little bit of land in the background there, but it's island, but it's long and flat, which kind of matches the evidence that we've got. So let's go with the idea that this is that town. And then when we spin around, basically that's what we should be seeing on the evidence. And it's a variation of that. I mean, I don't know exactly what the parallax is going to be, because if you do it all the way over here, it's difficult, because they do this now on Google Earth around a curve. They don't do this on flat anymore. They used to do it on a flat, but it's now curved. So it's difficult to get the level that varies and adjusts where you put your marker point. So, I mean, I don't know. That's what Google's saying. But then when you go back to the evidence and you look at what's supposed to be there, which is supposed to be a stump, that it should be this bit, that should be the end of it. But as you can see, it carries on and on and on and on to here. So yeah, let's go with that's the town. I'm not sure it is, but the land would then stop here. This would be the end of the land. Now, if that is the case, what's all the land that's behind it? Because that land doesn't exist on Google Maps. And secondly, we see these two big white dots. I've tried to identify these two big white dots on the line of sight. Now, obviously, there's the cliff that's in the foreground. So this lower one can't be seen because it's behind the cliff. So it's definitely not that. Let me just try zooming in a little bit more. Because you need to identify, this is where an empirical approach to stuff is better than a mathematical approach. It's all well and good calculating angles. That may well work to some degree. But if it doesn't match the evidence, you've got your mathematics wrong. So I think what I'll do is I'll pull this back down, because when I'm now close to it, you don't really need it to be exaggerated. Oh, yeah. I hate it when that happens. There we go. And then I'm looking specifically for the two white markers, because if we can identify anything that looks like it might be possible for that, then sure, we'll have that. Because this is empirical. This is based on the evidence. And this is what we have to do. We can't do it based on maths. And the only thing that looks possible, in my opinion, for a big white blob would be possibly that and possibly that. But they don't look big enough. They're massive. So at this point, I'm thinking it probably isn't that land. So we need to prove that this is that land, because at the moment they're claiming that they've proved it by using calculations and ratios and calculations from pixels. Well, let me put it to you this way. If Nathan has got 2 ice creams and I have got 2 ice creams, the ballers would say there are 4 ice creams. But the flat earthers would say, no, neither of us have actually got any ice creams. So the answer is 0. So yes, if Nathan did have 2 and I did have 2, it would be 4. But in actual real world, neither of us have got ice creams. So in real world, the answer is 0. But the ballers accept that it would be 4, because it's, yeah, well, if we accept that Nathan has got ice creams, yeah, well, Nathan hasn't got ice creams in the real world, in the same way that we're not seeing stuff to identify this land. So if Nathan's got ice creams hypothetically, then this could be the case. But unless you can prove that whether Nathan's got ice creams or not, you can't prove whether this land is or is not without identifying these 2 white buildings. And we haven't been able to do it. However, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, could I make a suggestion? Have you thought about maybe it could be fields, arched fields that are just showing up as, you know, big such a long distance that they are actually, you know, it's terrain that you're looking at.
Maybe. I've just got Ranty on Skype in the background, which you guys I don't think can hear. But when we look over to Douglas, which is where I think it is, we do see big white things that look like they would line up, because that could be that. And then you've got a little one over here, which may well be, let's have a look, could well be this, or this maybe. These do match up because they are big white buildings that you would expect to see from distance, especially this one that looks like it's on the side of the hill. It looks like it's dug into the hill. So that, for me, makes me think exactly what I said from the first point. And again, I reference these trees in the background here as my focal point to, and I'll have to put the line in now. Come on, give me a line. That's kind of the line of sight. It's not exact, but it's close enough. In fact, I really should put it all the way in, shouldn't I? Just to make it accurate. Boosh. St. B's there. That's about right there. Yeah, so it wasn't far out. So if I zoom right down into it now and then look up. Now, can you see, based on that and that, if I move that around to there, so that it's more there. 1, 2, could easily be 1, and then either that one or that one. That would line up. And then as you zoom out, you've got the land that's blocking it in the foreground. But again, I reference these trees. These trees there. These trees on this hill. That's what I think it is that we're looking at. Now, if I zoom back out, you can still see the trees at the top. Trees are in the top. It would be off to the right, wouldn't it? So maybe we're looking more in harbour. Well, I mean, there's numerous tall buildings here. Or maybe not tall, but they look like they're normal. Yeah, they don't look particularly tall. I mean, that one looks particularly tall, and that's square. That one looks tall. That one's square. See, it could be that we're looking into the harbour. There are buildings there that would match up. And the tufted trees in the background. That's the bit that makes me think it is. So if it isn't, and I've made a mistake, fine. But in any event, and then we're still left with the position where, and it is unobstructed. But again, we're still left with the position either way, where the land to the left doesn't match what we see on the picture. I mean, look at how much land is here. It's supposed, either way, it's supposed to stop pretty much there. This is the first, if it's the other town, it stops there. If that's Douglas, then it basically stops here. But in any event, what's all the other land? So yeah, sure, maybe I've got the wrong town. But so you need to identify what we're looking at here, because this is not Douglas. This is not Isle of Man. This is something else. And the only other thing it can be is Ireland. So yeah, okay, maybe I did misidentify it. Show me why I've got it wrong, because we need to do it with evidence. You can't do it with maths. You need to match something up. Like I said, if Nathan's got 2 ice creams and I've got 2 ice creams, ballers are saying that means they got 4. But flat earthers would say, well, neither of us have got ice creams. So the answer is we've got no ice creams, because it's based on the assumption that you've got ice creams, but we haven't got ice creams in real world. Well, it's like the same with the radius calculation. Yeah, if we assume that there's a radius of the Earth, then yeah, sure, use it. But in real world, we're not seeing any evidence of a radius. So the bigger point is show that there's a radius. What do you think, Nath, based on what I've just said?
I was only half paying attention because as soon as you gave me all these images, I did all of this almost immediately and checked all the line of sights and came to my conclusion. And I think I put it out there publicly almost immediately. I think it's Ireland. And I've said that. Yeah. And occasionally, you'll have to excuse my heavy cold, occasionally in the comments, people will say, so they've given up on Ireland then. Well, no. What we had to do, or what you had to do, was concede it for the sake of argument. If they want to say that it's all of the Isle of Man, then you have to identify that low-lying piece of land. And what it is, according to them, is a little piece of land that juts out from the Isle of Man. Now, for the sake of argument, you can then say, well, why can we see that when it's 200 metres below the curve of the Earth, or being blocked by 200 metres, or obscured by, however they want to phrase it. They have lots of tricky ways of phrasing it. The reality, the most accurate one, is that is obscured. We cannot see any of this in the shot now. None of this is visible to us because Earth's in the way. So it's a hologram. That's what we're looking at right now. It's a hologram. It's not really there. It's blocked.
I agree. I don't think it's Isle of Man we're looking at. I think it's Ireland. I agree. We haven't conceded the point at all. Let's just keep the record straight. We've only discussed it for the sake of discussion to explore new avenues. Don't misrepresent what we've said. We haven't conceded that. We're asking somebody to prove it incorrect. Now, yesterday's show was about maths, about pixels. But the problem with the pixels over ratio, the pixels ratio, is that because we're looking at this from this angle. Now they're going to argue this and say, no, that's not right at all. That would be ridiculous. But the fact is, yeah, you may get the pixels relatively accurate here because you're covering a distance that you can calculate. But that same parameter there over that, I mean, the point from there to there measures X. But then if you go from that point down to that point, that value is going to be the same. But look at how much different land you're traveling. You're traversing way more land because we're looking down the side of it. So I question how accurate that calculation per pixel is. Now, they'll say, no, it's exactly right. I don't think it is. I don't think that's right at all. And unless you can prove some empirical stuff, like identifying stuff, then you're not going to be able to prove it with maths, because the ice cream example is a perfect example of it. Just because Nathan may have 2 ice creams and I may have 2 ice creams, meaning 4, that doesn't mean we've actually got 4 ice creams. So your maths may say one thing, but you need to prove that what you're saying is right by identifying stuff. And then we can say, yeah, maybe you are right. And if it turns out that I'm wrong with the identification of Douglas, so what? I don't mind being wrong on stuff. I want it to be resolved because it appears that we're looking at Ireland. So the onus is on the ball. Is you've got the evidence, you've got the assertions, and you've got the proofs that we rely on to be true. Now you've given us mathematics back as the answer so far. And I don't accept the mathematics as the answer because it isn't empirical. Just disprove or just prove what we're looking at. Prove the points that we see in the actual evidence, because everybody's got the same stuff. Everybody's got the same file. Everybody's got the same video. You can get them. They're in the Hangouts. The files have been passed around, but you can get the video and you can make your own composite. You can put them all up. So I don't mind being wrong on Douglas. We haven't conceded that this is Douglas. This is not Douglas. But if it is the case that it's the other town, fine. However, all this other land, look at it. There's loads of it. And you can tell it's far away because it's floating. It's got that band, that little blue line underneath it. And that blue line just stops exactly where the point would be, where you would expect. I mean, if it's the first town, it stops, well, kind of there. If it's Douglas, it stops kind of there as well. But this is where this mirage thing starts. And that's consistent with it being a lot further. And I'm going to add to this. I know we haven't got anything. Have we on this one? Oh, yeah, we have. I listened to Mark Taylor and I listened to Paul, who both argued, if you can see Ireland down at the south side of the town, the south side of the land, why can't you see it at the north? Now, both Paul and Mark had said that, and I agree with that position. I agree that we should see it on the north. So for the last couple of days, Ranty and I have been looking at the idea that there could be Ireland to the north, which is the position that we had originally, and we haven't dropped that either. And I'm going to reassert my position. We are seeing Ireland in the north. And I'm waiting for one email to come back. But with it being Christmas, I don't think I'm going to get it straight away. But I'm waiting for one email to come back. And if the email that comes back from people that are in positions that will know more than anybody else on this discussion, if it comes back the way I'm expecting it to come back, I don't think you guys are going to be able to argue that we're not seeing Ireland in the north. Because we are seeing Ireland in the north, but the onus is on me to prove it because I'm the one that's making the assertion. And I can prove it now, but because it's to do with like the interpretation of what we're looking at, I accept that it's not particularly strong at this point because it can be argued in other ways. So I'm not going to reveal what point I'm taking at the moment. I'm going to wait for a confirmation of. And if and when I get that confirmation, it's going to be advantage flat Earth on the assertion that Ireland should be visible from the north, because I agree it should be, but I believe it is, and I'm about to prove it. I believe. If I get a negative back from the email response, I'll produce it and I'll show you, and I'll say to everybody, "There's the answer to the email I've had back. It was negative, so maybe we're not looking at Ireland, but in the north. But I believe we are." So I'll show that email if and when I get a response to it. But bear in mind, it is Christmas. They're probably off over Christmas. So they may not be back until the new year. And I have an auto email response back from a guy that I have been speaking to who said he's off until the 8th of Jan. He did give me an alternative email in his email address. And I've emailed the alternative in the hope that somebody will respond. I may get a response today. You may get something for tonight's show. Might not do, but it depends on how much staff they've got on over Christmas and stuff. So bear with me. But if this email comes, and when I get this email back, I will make it public. Whatever the answer is, I'll show you it. If it turns out to be a red herring or a waste of time, then it's a waste of time. But if it turns out to be positive, then you're not going to be able to beat it, guys. It's that simple. It will be Ireland, and you're going to have to argue serious amounts of stuff against it being Ireland when people that do this job for a living have basically confirmed it. It's also worth showing that comment. Did you see the comment from the guy, Nathan, who was living in Holyhead or somewhere like that? And he basically said, I can see it easily, regularly. I'm gonna dig it out because I just want to show it. Because
that guy.
Pardon?
The guy who was talking about the ferries said he was 50 odd years old and had seen it all his life.
Yeah, that guy. I have it here. Let's bring this up. I just want to share with the people that are watching that what we're saying isn't as crazy as it sounds. This guy come up and he said, "I live in North Wales. I have relatives in Dublin and County Wicklow Mountains. It's 60 miles from Holyhead to Dublin. We can see the Isle of Man from Llandudno, Anglesey, and other parts of North Wales. We can see the Wicklow Mountains from Carnarvon. Wicklow Mountains are in Ireland. Carnarvon is in Wales. Last time we can see Blackpool Tower from Rill Promenade, which I've been told that before. That's something I'm going to check on myself. Last time I took my son to Ireland, halfway across the Irish Sea, we could see 2 ferries crossing each way from Belfast to Cairnryan. I've known this since I was a child, and I'm 50 in a few months. The Earth is not what they are telling us, and I agree." And then one of my responses to this guy, Nathan said the Earth's flat. It certainly isn't round. I agree with you. It isn't round. And I just said, "Can I use this message in the opening credits of my next video? So you think it's possible to see Ireland from England too then?" And then look at what he puts. "Yes, of course you can. We could see Ireland from anywhere between Birkenhead and Heysham. Maybe Morecambe, providing the Isle of Man isn't in the way. You're closer to Ireland further up there, so I suppose. I'm sure Ireland could be seen from the north side of Somerset, Devon and Cornwall. I'm sure we saw Ireland from St. Just at the tip of Cornwall. It was about 30 years ago, so I can't be 100% sure. I was there in 2000, and a mechanic we were talking to said that he could see the Scilly Isles from near his house near Land's End, which is 61.1 miles. Nathan, carry on a sec, mate. I've just got to grab this call. One sec.
No problem. I'll bring up my image while you're doing it. The audience, I'll have to excuse my bunged up sounding voice. So yesterday, Paul told me he didn't like the word mirage. We are looking at mirage effects. I like to give it the term looming. So I'm going to decide now to change the term that I use to hologram, as what we are visually seeing, according to the globe heads, who believe this is blocked by Earth curvature, is a hologrammatic effect. We can't see this. Earth is in the way. The only reason we can see it is because of hologrammatic effects. So this is a hologram. My challenge to any globe head out there is to remove the red line, or take the original image, not this image, and show me where the hologram starts and where it ends. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's no difference in the image between this part of it and this part of it in the clarity. Further to that, at the most extreme curvature point, in terms of what we can actually see and identify as Sleeping Warrior is currently doing, This is not miles. Don't want to exaggerate. Let's keep it accurate. A couple of 100 meters below the obstruction of Earth. It doesn't look any less detailed. It doesn't look any different to stuff that's above the line. In terms of its clarity, this is about the same. In fact, from where I'm eyeballing it, this looks clearer. Joined by a new guest. How you doing, Arav? Good to have you here.
I'm good. Good.
I'll stop monologuing now you're here, and I'll go on mute. We've also been joined by Make4. How you doing, Make4? Good to have you here.
Hey, what's up?
Sky, stars, moon, usual stuff. Good to have you
Is
here.
it real?
But I was gonna say, doesn't this get at the heart of how Google renders images? I mean, if you have a drone or whatever taking these, multiple images of a coastline, say, eventually it's gonna look like a blocky box, depending on how you rendered a straight line image when really there might be depths and stuff that they're missing with some of these images. So we kind of need to see how Google renders their images and pastes them together to make say a coastline or something.
Yeah, well, they render in the curve now in Google Earth. So yesterday, Alexander, I think his name is, I don't know, he's got a different name, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he was saying, oh, well, we have no zoom function in Google Earth. And it's like, well, it wouldn't matter if you did. I mean, if you did have a zoom function and you used Google Earth, it would lend credence to our argument, because you would immediately see my point that I'm trying to illustrate to the audience, which is very difficult to get across to them. Even people like Alex and Lewis just aren't understanding this. Either they're willfully ignorant or they just can't process it, but either way, they're not getting it. The reality is, on Google, you can demonstrate it because they do engineer in the curvature. So you do see the obstruction. In other words, you don't get to see it from the coastline because it's blocked by the curve of the Earth. On the photo, it's clear as crystal. Again, I don't want to use these terms. I'm going to have to moderate my language a lot more, but not clear as crystal. It's clear, and the same above and below the line, that the imaginary curve line that has been drawn in there, there's no difference in terms of the quality of image, but we're being told it's a hologram. We're being told it's a mirage. We're being told it's looming. And all of these words are just designed to bamboozle the audience into not understanding what's actually happening. What's happening is we can't see the bottom half of that island. We don't have line of sight with it. The Earth's in the way. The reason we can, according to Globeheads, is it's being bent back around that obstruction. But basically, there's a wall in the way of what we can see, according to Globeheads. And there isn't. There's no wall in the way. We can just see it. It's as simple as that. We see it. The Earth's flat, and we see things at distance when we have a clear day. That's not a tall, That's not an outrageous claim to say that on a clear day you can see more. That's logic. That's normal. Anybody who's made any observations at distance on a clear day will, when you go up a mountain and say, I wonder how much we'll see today, you don't go, well, it depends on whether or not we have any non-standard refraction bringing things back into our view. Nobody's ever processed that thought. They just go, it depends how clear the day is. That's all they ever consider.
And refraction is usually going from like air to water, like a different medium. I mean, if the medium is uniform that you're analyzing the substance in, then what refraction are they even talking about? It's all air. There is, what refraction would they even be talking about? It's all air. It's all technically the same medium, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're not applying Snell's law. There's no medium change. Anyway, we've got Scotty with us. I haven't said anything to him. Excuse me. How you doing, Scotty? Can you hear us?
Thanks, Nathan. I appreciate your invite me. I love your show, bro. Cheers, bro.
Good to have you.
How's everything going, guys?
Yes, Garner.
Is that mate? Is it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, bloody hell.
I've listened to some of your stuff lately. I like it, man. Keep it up.
Oh, yeah. Rig, I hate you. Sorry.
Hey?
I'm talking to this other guy.
Who you talking to?
The Rig.
The Rig? Who's the fucking Rig, mate?
He doesn't think I'm Aussie.
Try not to swear.
He doesn't
Please
think
try
you're
not to
Aussie.
swear.
Well, mate, I'm obviously Scandinavian.
Well, I'm actually Latvian and New Zealand and other stuff as well. So yeah, I'm not really Aussie somehow.
Well, it's cunts trying to say you're an Asian or something.
Try not to swear. Just try not to swear.
Oh, sorry, Nathan.
Couldn't have been a more Aussie intro. Are you mate?
Sorry, mate.
Are you mate? That's what you said to him. That was priceless. Couldn't have been more Australian.
Mike 4, stop saying the C word, mate. Alright? Because people don't appreciate it.
Sorry.
Alright. Nathan, Mike 4 apologised.
Sorry. Shizzle.
Australia's now my biggest audience. Did you know that, guys? Australia's this channel's biggest audience currently. We're getting more viewers in Australia than anywhere else.
Well, we Aussies love you, Nathan.
I was just thinking about when you're talking about the edge of that island and how the back of it should be sort of disappearing over the curve, which is why that red line goes up to the left there. I was sort of thinking about that when you see like there's beaches around the place, like 9 Mile Beach and stuff, where the edge of that bay that curves around, like, and you see the edge of the bay going out really far out.
Beach.
Should also.
What's
What?
a beach?
What's a beach?
I'm kidding, bro.
Should also sort of like dip down a bit, I guess.
I agree. Where are you from, Mike?
Canberra.
Also, you're from the national. You're from the capital of Australia.
Yep.
And do you like what do you like being called? Mate?
Generally, idiot is good.
What?
Just idiot.
Idiot. What, so if I needed to say something to somebody and it was you would want me to say that you're an idiot.
Usually, I prefer the C word, but like we can't say that here.
Oh, you know, and Nathan, I'm fucking sorry. I'm sorry.
We're terrible.
Well, I know that Mike 4 knows what I'm going for right now, because I am from Melbourne. I'm from the suburbs, and like literally every C, F, N word kind of comes from somewhere very personal, and we talk about it and say it not like it's anything that we second think about it. We just say it naturally. So I'm sorry, Nathan. I'm not going to say any bad words. That comes naturally to me. I'll try to force it out. So, Mike,
I guess too much hip hop. Too much hip hop music or something. Like, what is it?
Now the funny thing is, Mike, you are the only bloke who knows what I'm talking about.
I do. We the culture's very weird here, I have to say.
Yeah. Where are you from again?
Canberra.
It's perfect. Sorry, mate. Like, cause I've had like about 10 beers, like, or maybe 6. No. The only reason, because I've got like 5 days off. Right, like my literal whole holiday for like the whole year, because I'm a garbage man, is 5 days off. So like this is my second day. So you realise why I'm pissed as fuck, like, or nearly there. Yes.
Try not to swear.
Wait, this is a test for even me because I'm sitting here. I don't want to talk because I know I'm just gonna say some stuff.
Mate, Nathan and me have told you before that the F and the C is not allowed.
Where does the N come from, though?
Nowhere. Well, to be honest, I've got a lot of friends who are Polynesian, who are Maori, who are well, I am actually Aboriginal part.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
so
I'll accept it.
So I've grown up with a lot of Kiwis, and I've played rugby for about 3 different suburbs in Melbourne, Australia. So the N words, C words come very very naturally to me. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way. Like I love Kiwis, and they love me.
Yeah, no.
But we like to say a few different words as a joke. You Nathan, make knows what I mean. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
See, exactly. It's covered up. I'm
It's all
sorry,
good.
Nathan, for saying
Just chill, bro.
any bad words because I listen to your show and I love it. I love what you do.
It's all
You know,
good,
you
bro.
throw flat earthers and globe earthers together.
It's the
and you
flat
try
E.
conclusion of the earth, and I love it. But Mike is very Australian. Unlike me, I'm like fucking not even half Australian, and Mike says a lot of bad words.
I'm sorry. Channel my bogan. How am I supposed to do that? What?
Yeah, I'm not
We
Mike.
can't swear. We can't swear.
Mike is a bit, you know, he loves a bit of beers, loves a bit of pot, you know, he's a bit of bogan, you know what I mean?
Oi, but I was thinking smart stuff today. All right, get this. Bloody Jesus. So I was looking at this weather balloon, and it's like when it goes up, man, it goes out of the blue area, the blue stuff, and I'm pretty sure that blue stuff is like the atmosphere because I looked how high them things go, all right, and now I'm talking like fully sick. I don't know. This is like anyway. I'm channeling my European here. Anyway, now it goes over the blue stuff, bro. But there's meant to be
bro,
more
bro,
elements.
it's Greek, yeah? You Greek, huh?
Something.
Come on, you Greek, yes?
Honestly, no.
No. Tell me, are you Greek? Yes or no? Come on, tell me. Come on. I'm right, yes?
If I was Greek, all right, we have been mapping the stars for a while. Okay.
Sorry. That was some like lesbian slut. You said that. If you're Greek, go on. Yes.
What? Oh, this is ridiculous. Look, so anyway, it goes over the blue stuff.
He's not a problem. Sorry, go on.
It goes out of the atmosphere, but there's still like lots of elements above that level still. But it goes black. It goes black.
But then Atrostophes or some cunt from like Greek from 500 years proved the earth is flat and spinning.
Yeah, it's flat. It's like a coin. Someone's flipping us.
Come on, bro.
Wait, settle down,
Did
Rick.
one of your ancestors prove the earth is ball and it's spinning?
Yeah, they did. I mean, 500 years, yeah. So,
I love you, mate. I love you.
no, they're bloody Freemason dirtbags, but weren't they?
Yeah. Oh, who's joined chat, wait?
Got Mark Taylor with us.
Oh, it's fucking Mark from Bruno.
Oh, right.
That's
Wait.
pretty hilarious.
10 beers is just too much for this show. Sorry. Good to have you though, Mark. Finally, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Mark's going to bring semblance of normality to the show. How you doing, Mark?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks, Nathan. How are
Good
you?
to have you here. Very well, thank you for asking.
It's okay. So is Ryder here, or was he disappeared?
I think he's just on a phone call.
Is he? Okay.
What do you know, Mark?
What do I know?
Yep.
Well, I know it's a globe.
How'd you know?
Ooh.
Loads of different things.
Oh, that was hilarious. I'm sorry about that, guys.
No, don't apologise.
Honestly,
He's not
even
so
myself,
swearing in
you know-
anger, so that's why I let him get away with like 4 or 5 before I kicked him. Because he's not annoyed,
had a
he's
good
drunk.
10 or
You know, he's
something,
drunk and he's happy as Larry. You know, he's not swearing at somebody because he's triggered and doesn't like the fact that we've got a hologram at the bottom half of the Isle of Man. That's not why he's swearing.
Oh, yeah, geez. It's a little bit how we talk.
Yeah, it's
I
not
guess.
really a hologram, is it, Nathan? I mean, there's not even a hologram in the loosest definition of the word.
I agree, Mark. It's not a hologram. Completely agree with you.
So why do you use words that are deliberately misleading then?
I'm not, Mark. That's the
you are,
definition of what's happening. It's a
Yeah,
holographic
but you are
effect.
though. It's not a hologram, is it? It's
Yeah,
not
it
a
is. That's
hologram,
what
mate.
you think it is. I don't think it's a
No,
hologram. I think we can just see
think
it.
it's a hologram.
I don't either.
Said that's a hologram.
I don't
When
think
has-
it's.
when has
You're
anyone
misunderstanding,
ever said
Mark. I
that's a
don't think that
hologram?
either. We're in agreement.
I'm-
Hooray! I don't think it's a hologram either.
Right. So once
Actually,
again,
hey.
why do you keep using words that are misleading, Nathan?
Because, according to the
Oh.
heliocentric model, Mark, we have an obstruction in the way of the bottom half of the island. We cannot see it. We don't have line of sight. The Earth's in the way.
So where in the heliocentric model does it say that's a hologram, Nathan?
Right. Do you understand what a hologram is, Mark?
Yes.
Right. So, if we have a brick wall between me and, let's say, a table, but we can see the table, even though there's a brick wall in the way, what effect would that be?
I don't know. If there was no projector,
It would be a
not be a
hologrammatic
hologram.
effect. That's
It
what
would
it would
not
be.
It would not be a hologram if there was no projector, Nathan. Where's the projector?
Right, the light is being bent, Mark. That's
Where's
what we're
the
being
projector,
told.
Nathan?
It's called a hologrammatic effect. You go and look it up, my friend.
Okay.
If you don't like the terminology, like
Deliberately
Paul didn't
using
like
words that
it,
are
Paul
misleading,
liked
because
the
that's what
word
you've got,
looming.
Nathan. You
Paul
just-
liked the word
you're just
looming. I used
dishonest
the word
like
mirage.
You're
But
even
Paul
getting
didn't
more
like that
dishonest
word,
than
so
before,
I
which is
changed it
quite
as well.
shocking,
I
really.
changed it to hologram because it's more clear for the
Considering
audience.
someone's supposed to be looking for truth, you're very dishonest, Nathan.
I'm not. I say we can just
You
see
are.
it. I'm in agreement with you. It's not a hologram. However, there's
So why are
a
you
big
using the
wall of
misleading words
Earth
then,
in the
Nathan?
way. We can't see it. We don't have
So
line
why are
of
you
sight.
using misleading words, Nathan?
I'm not.
Can
You
I
guys are. You guys are trying to use
No,
maths
you
to
are,
prove to.
Nathan. No one's called it a hologram.
You don't understand
but
what's
you,
happening,
Nathan.
Mark. You're as bad as Lou and Alex because you don't understand what's happening. What's happening
Okay,
is
I don't
Paul.
understand, but I'm not the one using misleading words, Nathan. Am I?
I'm not either.
Well, you are, because it's not a hologram in any definition of the word.
I agree.
So,
It's just
well,
a picture,
stop
isn't it,
using
Mark?
the word hologram.
you
then,
don't
won't
get it either. This is going to be fun. You don't get it either. I like it.
I do get it. You're being dishonest, Nathan.
Yeah, tell me all about it. Tell me how I'm being
can I-
dishonest. Tell
Is it
me.
a painting, Nathan? Is it
Today,
a painting, Nathan?
can I say something? Today I was looking at some more
Would
videos
it be
and
dishonest
stuff.
for me to say it's a painting, Nathan?
Hey, hello.
Exactly. You
Hey.
go very quiet, don't you, Nathan?
Hello.
Very quiet.
Hey, hello there. Today I was
How you doing,
looking
Alex?
at-
Good to have you here.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
I just came in, man. I think you've gone a bit Pete Shea right now. What's going on, Nathan? Yeah.
bye, Scotty. Bye-bye.
Sorry,
Sorry,
it's a
mate.
hologram. Oh. It's like really weird. What's going on?
Cold. Maybe that's why I sound a bit Irish. Sorry. I'm going to be
Oi,
slurring,
oi,
sounding like
but-
I'm drunk because I've got all sorts of phlegm and horribleness.
It's good for you.
Not on
Good for you,
top
stay
form.
positive. Now I was looking at some stuff today, like things like the salt flats, which are like 90 miles flat, and you can see like practically the bottom of the mountains on the other side and stuff. It was kind of interesting. It's all these things that keep getting me, and there was just a few
Well, what,
others
can
here
you
and there.
practically see it, or can you see it? Like you can see the bottom of the
Ooh, I
mountain.
don't know. Maybe
This is the problem Nathan's having
mirror.
at the beach and everything. It's like
might be a big
we need
mirror.
to see the bottom, right? If the Earth's flat.
Well,
We're
I mean,
joined by Arwin. Good to have you here, Arwin. Nice to see you.
Hey, hello, Nathan.
Just for Alex,
Riley.
well, I'm going to bring
But
up
anyway,
the picture so we can all see it.
What are we doing? What are we gonna see?
Picture.
What I wanted to
Alex.
talk about though a little bit just today, which I was wondering, is it like when we get above our atmosphere, which is about something like 30 kilometers or 35 kilometers, we still have like elements going up there and stuff, and I'm just wondering like why the weather balloons, when they go up to a certain point, it starts looking like the only like they should still be sort of surrounded by elements and stuff which would set off colors in with the light, but all you really see is the blue atmosphere around Earth or whatever it is, and I feel like because there's still a lot more of the atmospheres, whatever they're called, the layers. There's more layers above it, like the exosphere and blah blah blah.
I'll let someone else talk about that. I just want to say, Nathan, Merry Christmas, and like, don't go mental, man. Take a little break from flat Earth, man. Because like, seriously, bro,
I'm good.
Like there's been a change in the last few days, Nathan. It's we're all a bit worried about you.
Only
Yeah,
from the
we're
globehead's
taking it
perspective.
by taking the piss, but we are
No
worried.
flat
We're
earthers are saying
catching
this to
on
me,
to
Alex.
you. That's why.
Hold on, let me just say this to
okay.
Alex. Good. Have a happy Christmas,
Okay.
Alex. You're one of my favourites,
You
mate.
too.
I love you, mate. Good to have you here. Really pleased to see you.
All right, buds. Take care. See you later.
Just want to address what he said,
See you,
though.
mate.
No flat earthers are
Merry
giving me this
Christmas.
grief. The grief I'm currently getting comes from one group only, and it's the globeheads. And when the same situation came to Spurs, so he asserted that the entire ice plateau was flat, and he had no evidence, I challenged him and asked him to present evidence. And when he couldn't, I, trolled the hell out of him and told him to shut up and told him he was talking nonsense. And everybody on the globe side praised me. Oh, isn't it wonderful? Yeah, all the flat earthers criticised me, I'll be honest, Of course the ice plateau is flat, blah, blah, blah. Right, when the situation's reversed and Paul asserts that we're seeing a hologram, and I challenge him to prove that it's a hologram, we get nothing. I was thinking Anthony Riley might think
That's because Globers politicize everything. They only care if the globe is right and the flat side is wrong. That's the only thing they care about. So they will switch. Like, as soon as you criticize a flat earther, they'll all start to love you. And immediately when you turn away from that, you focus on something else, then they'll hate you again. Because they don't care about the truth. They only care about proving the globe. It's the only
How
thing
do
they
you
care about.
politicise something?
Well, I mean, that could happen, like you say, with both sides. But the thing with the map is it's probably Google's rendering. Like Google takes a bunch of pictures in a line, and when they put it back together, there are probably some inconsistencies and some flaws. That point that's supposed to be behind the curve, well, they didn't put it in their curve generator correctly, and they have a little flaw. It's that simple. I mean, you'd be able to take, pictures on a flat, unmoving plane easier than you do on a curved ball rocketing through space. If you try to take pictures on a curved ball rocketing through space, you're going to have even more gaps than you would on a flat model. So Google can only do so much. Even that guy who said that he does the blue marble for NASA says there are gaps in the photos. Well, there are gaps in the photos because the drone didn't hit all the spots. And so when they put it together, they have to imagine a few things.
It wasn't a drone. It was a satellite.
Yeah.
Well, a satellite's not a drone.
Not a satellite like we think of, probably a solar-powered drone that can do a couple flights.
No, satellite.
That's probably underneath the dome.
Satellite.
Only goes so far.
No, satellite.
Okay, I could be wrong. I mean, couldn't we hook some stuff up to the dome, like screw some some cameras up there?
To the dome.
Yeah, but then you have to be absolutely certain there is a dome up there, and you're not.
Oh my
Nobody
god!
is.
Hook stuff up to the dome, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean,
But
there's
a good way to find
So
out
you
is
think
send a
there's a
rocket
dome
up there
there?
with giant
You think there's a
paintball.
dome?
Yeah, I mean,
So where
that's
the
how we get
meteorites come
rain.
from then? So where do
Meteor-
meteorites come from?
Chunks of the dome
We
falling.
don't know, Mark.
Chunks of the dome
no.
falling.
No, you don't know that. Right? Nobody knows where they come from. They
So
could
how
be
do they
entirely
gain
made up.
enough speed then? How do they
I
get
have a
enough
theory
speed to burn
that
up in the
falling
atmosphere?
stars are
Oh,
actually
you're just
optical
going to talk
effects,
for the
while
whole 2
meteors that
hours.
come down to the ground
So,
are
you're
not
just going to
optical
continually
effects, and they
talk,
might
are
be
you?
even caused by conspirators, by Freemasons.
So, and you're just going to continually
Catapulting
talk
giant
over me, are you?
Mark, it's pretty much the first time he's spoken.
he
on
has
this.
a
I was
good
trying to talk
magnesium
to
in
I
them
was trying to
burning
talk to Oro, and he's just talking over me, Nathan. So
All
is
right,
that
he
okay
does
then?
have a good
What
point,
happened to you,
though.
Mark?
He does have a good point.
Call what you do, Mark, barely
So, all right,
talking.
how come?
It's barely
how do they-
audible.
So once again, he's just going to talk over me, are you? Oh,
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Let him
right.
speak,
So how do
Darwin.
the meteorites gain enough speed to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere?
That
That's
I don't
three
know.
assumptions.
I need to do some more research, but I have another counter question, though. That's a good point, but a counter question is, why do you only see meteorites falling down above the horizon? Why don't you see meteorites, say, going up towards you? Why don't you see them going in all sorts of... You only
Well,
see
for
them
one,
going down
for
in
one
one
because of
direction,
Earth,
right?
for one because of Earth's gravity, everything gets pulled
Yeah.
towards the centre, so that sets them on a trajectory towards the Earth's centre. And
Okay.
two, you do see meteorites coming up from the bottom.
Okay. I stand
And
corrected.
if it was a globe, yeah, and Australia gets hit by meteorites, then that would mean that the meteorites do come from the bottom, doesn't it?
Well,
Why
it just
are
seems
orbits
like I've only
elliptical
seen a
but
shooting star
Saturn's
going
rings
down.
aren't?
Yes, but if meteorites hit Australia and Australia's on the bottom of the globe, that would mean that meteorites do come from the bottom, then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but couldn't you have a meteorite, say, coming up from Antarctica up toward Australia? I've never seen that. It always seems like they're coming down.
Well, any
what's up with
meteorite
that?
that's going to get close to Earth is going to get pulled in by its gravity. So the
Yeah,
trajectory of the trajectory of the meteorite will go towards the centre of the Earth.
It's a lot of.
Why doesn't the moon get pulled in by the Earth's gravity?
Yeah, it's a lot of theories all combined in one. It's a beautiful explanation, but it's untrue because falling stars, what we see in the sky, those short blips of light, are not proven to be the same thing even as physical meteors impacting on the Earth.
What about the ones that hit the Earth?
They don't correlate. That type of sighting.
What about the ones that hit the Earth, Arwen?
It's a different type of sighting.
What about the ones that hit the Earth, Arwen?
Mark, have you got any evidence that anybody's ever been killed by a meteorite?
They can be created by man. It's not that hard to do.
No, they can't actually, because when they're tested, they're not.
It's very basic. They could have even done this in medieval times. You take a giant rock with magnesium in it, and then you catapult.
Arwen and Mark, come on, Mark and Arwen, you're two for a pair. So Mark, you just talked over Arwen, then Arwen just talked over Mark. You're bad as each other. Just try and take a step off each other. You're both on each other's toes. Just take a breath between your sentences. But you're trolling each other at the moment. There's no need.
Right, once again, when they're tested, they're not the same rock that's on Earth. They've got different minerals in them.
I know.
Well then, so they can't be from Earth then, can they?
No, it just means that they are not naturally found like that on Earth. Doesn't say they couldn't have been created. This is my whole point. I think that falling stars are not the same thing as meteors and meteor impacts. It's not the same thing.
Arwen. So you're saying that people are making things on Earth from stuff that no one can find on Earth?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, yes.
So what are they making it out of then, Arwen?
Well, they're probably using advanced metallurgy to combine these metals that normally cannot be combined. It's probably a very old blacksmith
so people are combining metals that cannot be combined.
And then make a lot of money off it, saying it's falling stars.
Great logic, Arwen, great logic.
Yeah, it is. And it's very profitable. No one says they're
falling stars, Owen. Only wizards like you say that.
Thank you.
Mark, I've got a question for you, Mark.
What's that?
I'm joined by part-time vegan. I'll just turn you right.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
I heard you before mentioning to Nathan that you felt that Nathan was being dishonest by using the word hologram out of context.
Yep.
I made a hangout specifically about meteors. If you want to check back at what I was talking about without Mark interrupting me constantly, you can just visit my channel.
Stop trolling each other.
Come on,
Mark. Come on, Arwen. You're both just as bad.
Only that's some mental patients visit your channel, Arwen.
No need for ad hom. No need.
That wasn't an ad hom.
I thought you just said he was a mental patient.
He's got serious mental problems. He thinks he saved the world in 2001.
Yeah, you don't have it.
That is ad hom.
He thinks that we should all be thankful for him saving the world in 2001.
Yeah,
stop trolling each other. Arwen, you're just as bad. You're talking over Mark as well. Just come on, both of you.
I was echoing him.
Salt flats. Jupiter's rings.
Salt flats.
I mean, Saturn's rings.
There's no salt to be found in a salt flat.
Saturn's rings? Why are they?
Yeah, go on, Riley. What was your question?
You were saying that Nathan was misrepresenting the word hologram before, out of context.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, it appears to me that the ballers appear to be using refraction instead of curvature now. Like what was commonly described as curvature now seems to be refraction, and it appears that ballers are dishonestly misrepresenting the word refraction. So now
is refraction
curvature.
a word? Is refraction a word?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's what it means, and it's how it's applied that I'm talking about.
No, hold up. Is refraction a word, and is it a known phenomenon?
We've got two new guests. Sorry, Anthony.
We've got two new guests.
Just want to introduce them. We've got.
Hold
on. Just want to introduce the Rumpus and Curved. Bear with me, Mark. Mark, bear with me. Mark, how you doing, Curved? Good to see you.
Good. Am I coming through?
You're a bit quiet.
Yeah.
How you doing, Rumpus? Good to see you.
Hello.
Good to have you here.
So Anthony, what causes refraction?
So is hologram
I've got a
word?
little bit of a presentation on refraction.
That's what you come back to me with.
So I was interested. I can show some diagrams about refraction.
I want to show a diagram about.
If you could wait just a couple of minutes, Rumpus, we would be
polite.
Sorry,
Mark. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay.
Riley, so what causes refraction?
Well, why don't you tell me? You ballers seem to know all about the refraction.
Well, so you're not even going to answer a question then. So why even bother coming in here if you're not going to answer questions?
To be fair, Mark, the question I asked you.
I'll answer them for you if you like.
No, hang on. Let's stay on topic. I said
because I know the answer.
Wait.
I can't talk to you about psychiatry.
5 people talking now.
Yeah, that's good for you, man. You should try it.
Wait
all
for a
right,
gap.
Riley, all right, give me 5 minutes, yeah, and then anyone else can talk. I just want to ask Riley a couple of questions. This is the whole point of me coming in here, yeah? Right. Riley, what was the idea of that video you took? Did you go there to do the observations, or was it just something you thought you'd do while you was there?
It was something that I did while I went there specifically to see, could I see Blackpool Tower, if you remember? And it's too far away. It's too small. Yeah. It's too far away.
Is that the real Pete Shea? Pete, is that you? Bet it is, because the other one's already been and gone.
You're mute, Pete.
Yeah, that's me. How you doing? I'm not the other guy. Some guy keeps sniping in my name. I don't know how to snipe. So
don't worry about it, Pete. We know it's not you.
It's the real Dodo.
Hi, Eleanor. How you doing, Eleanor?
She's not here.
Hail the King of Ireland.
I don't care, Nathan.
So Riley, if you went there knowing that you was going to be doing these observations, which you said you intended to see Blackpool Tower, but you couldn't see it, then why didn't you log any details like the viewer height, your GPS location, the bearing that you was looking?
I did, Mark. That's not the only video, is it?
It's none of that there.
No, that's not the only video, is it? The video that I originally released was the one that Miles Davis was triggered by and responded to. On that video, I did a 360 showing exactly where I was. And on this video, I didn't do the 360 because I took it like literally the same place at the same time. So it's a continuance of the first video.
But Anthony, panning a camera doesn't give any details. It doesn't give you your location. It doesn't give you GPS.
Well, Mark, would you have accepted it even if I did, though? Would you have accepted it even if I did?
You know how important viewer height is, don't you, Anthony?
Pardon?
You know how important viewer height is in these observations.
Well, I know what you guys claim is important.
These drones, are taking straight pictures, so when they render it back together, it's probably going to be off, from the street level view.
We're not even talking about that, all right? So please, if you're going to interject, can you please, keep up with the conversation?
Sorry.
So Anthony, you know how important these details are. Why didn't you record none of these details?
Well, I did, Mark, but you haven't seen the evidence where I.
Well, no, you didn't, because you said you got the height off of Google Earth, yeah.
Yeah.
So is Google Earth credible, Anthony?
Well, it's your model, so I'm using your model.
I'm asking you, Anthony, is Google Earth credible?
Yes,
it's your
when it
model.
comes to determining height, it is.
Right, so Google Earth's credible, but you ignore the fact that Google
when
Earth
it comes
is a globe.
to determining height, it is.
But
no, I know
that
Google
Earth is a globe,
see.
Anthony.
Mark, do you understand that we're testing your model? You know this model that you guys claim is dead predictable and always accurate and reliable and credible.
Right. So why didn't you get the exact height from where you were, Riley? Why does Google Earth say that his heights aren't accurate?
I don't know. You tell me. I didn't write Google Earth.
Well, did you know that?
Did I know what?
Buster.
That Google admits that their heights aren't always accurate.
Well, in the absence of having an accurate height, what else would you expect me to do? Given that I'm specifically testing your model.
Well, if you was going there for an observation and knowing how important the viewer height is in an observation, you could download numerous apps that tell you your exact elevation.
Yeah, but the problem is the lighthouse that Jeremy brought up. If you go to 3 or 4 different locations to get the same information, you get different numbers for how high it is and how high off the ground it is.
We're not talking about the lighthouse. We're talking about you, Anthony, and you're incapable of doing the most basic measurements when you know full well that is really important.
Doing anything
when you
done anything. Why don't you do some footage out there, doing some actual experiments instead of criticizing our other people?
Right. While you're all talking over each other, I'm just going to turn you down and introduce our new guests. So we've been joined by Chris. How you doing, Chris? Good to have you here.
2001.
How you doing, Chris? Can you hear us? You're on mute at the moment.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good to have you here.
All right, and just one more point, yeah. Right, when you present evidence, when you make a claim, Riley, yeah. If you make a claim, you've got to present the evidence. You make the claim that we see an island. Now, if we see an island, you should be able to pinpoint something on that picture that pinpoints something on island, not a landmark that we can check and we can verify that we're looking at island. There's no landmark.
It's 100 miles away.
You can barely see anything in the picture.
We did.
I can't
mountains.
I can't see Blackpool Tower.
That's what makes it visible.
No, mountains. You can't turn around and point at a lump of land.
There's a specific mountain range.
No,
and it's right there.
No, when I'm talking about landmarks like like the things we're seeing on the Isle of Man, like
Mountains
lighthouses,
aren't landmarks.
buildings.
Are you saying that
like
mountains aren't landmarks, Mark?
No, but the picture's not clear enough to be able to tell what lump of land it is, Owen. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. So therefore, how can I
so
identify
it's sticking
stuff if
out
it's
in
not
the
clear enough?
distance is not proof for you.
It appears, Mark, that you're not happy
have a
with the
question.
observer height on your model, but blame me for it. It appears that you're not happy with
No,
what we
that's
can
wrong,
see,
Mark.
but
You're
because
wrong
we
there,
can't
Rod.
identify it, but blame me for it. And it appears that you've generally got problems with me, not with the evidence itself. Have you got anything against
Yeah, I've
the
got
evidence
problems
that
with
you're
you,
happy with?
Ollie, because you're inherently dishonest. You
Let's
proved
get
Any
that
evidence of that,
with
Mark?
these simple
In that
observations.
case, you got problems
Right, I
with
think that draws a close to those guys' arguments. Anybody wants to talk over these two now? We're probably going to just go in pure ad hom now, by judging by what Mark just said.
What? He's inherently dishonest. He's known for his dishonesty now.
Mark,
Well, let's get access to the raw data from Google before they put it in their globe model or whatever. See how these pictures are taken, what angle they're taken at, and see if we can get an accurate take on, that they're getting in these photos. Maybe that might yield some useful information.
Anyway,
Mark, all I'll say to you, Mark, is I'm happy to concede 100 feet of observer height, even though your model says it's like between 30 and 45 feet. I'll give you 100 feet for the sake of a discussion on
but
the
the
debate.
pictures don't show that, does it? You can clearly see that you're on top of a cliff. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
but if you
looked
get
at
the
it
caravans,
and,
if you get the
and
caravans,
I've looked
Mark,
at it and I'd say it's at least 100 foot.
No,
Another thing as
Mark.
well, the caravans
Mark.
you gave.
He just said to
The
you,
caravan-
it doesn't
the
matter. It
caravans
could
you
be
gave.
100 feet higher.
I've
It
looked
wouldn't
everywhere for
matter to the
I've looked
observations.
everywhere for the specifications on them, and there's nowhere online that it says the height of them. They look about 15 feet to me, maybe even a bit more.
Right.
But
Okay. 12.
I'd say that Rand. He's got
Sorry, guys, I'm gonna have to draw close to this. This was covered in detail yesterday, Mark, on yesterday's Hangout. I know you really want to say that it's 15 feet. I've even Googled it myself, and according to all of the first 24 results, they're 12 feet. It's like one of those. It's one of those measurements.
That's the width, Nathan. They're 35 foot long and 12 foot wide, Nathan.
Oh, right, fair enough.
Yes, they are. Because I went to the actual site that they're made, the company.
Put it this way, Mark. Put it this way. I
gives you-
don't know the exact height, but when I come out the door and stand on the balcony, I can touch the roof, not the ceiling, the roof, without any hesitation. It's like just there. It's like just above my head height.
Hold on a second.
So
Mark
if you
might
give
have
us
the
the
exact
100 feet,
dimensions.
do we
Hold
have
on.
to subtract that from the viewer height?
Bear with me a second, Curve. Have you got the exact dimensions, Mark?
Yeah, the length 35 foot, width 12 foot, and I couldn't find the height anywhere. I was thinking of I was gonna ring the company to get the exact height, but I thought I can't be bothered. It's obviously someone's Googled
Well, can we draw
it.
in that
And
case?
12
Can we draw close to this
because-
conversation because we've got Arrow, I think, part-time vegan. Sorry, that wants to do a presentation. So does the Rumpus.
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't
okay.
want to run out of
I
time.
just
I want
wanted
to get
to
to
ask
both of them.
Riley and just clarify why you're so incompetent. That's all.
Sure. But before we get to any more ad hom, part-time.
Because of your model, really, Mark.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can see your screen
All
too.
right. So basically, I've been trying to find a detailed explanation to why things disappear on the flat surface, and I've been studying mirages in detail lately. And so as you can see, we always see mirages like on the road, and you can see this car is being reflected off a flat surface. And to my understanding, a mirage works because essentially light comes in at an angle, and then it hits an object, bounces off at the same angle, and then it bounces off. Say what? Any objections?
Mirage
Okay.
has nothing to do with reflection.
Rumpus, when you're doing your presentation, I'll remember this.
Okay, it's just one intervention. It's just so crucial. I just thought it was such a gross error. It's worth. I had to mention it. I won't interrupt persistently, but that's such a gross error that no one believes that. No one in science believes that the mirages and refraction are to do with reflection. No one.
Have you looked into the science, Rumpus?
Okay, sorry. That's anyone in science. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, I didn't.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
I saw a video explaining this, and I saw several other scientists basically say the same thing. But basically, light bounces off an object, and it
Wait,
bounces.
can do, but that's not the cause of mirages.
Yeah, I'm not done explaining the
He's
full.
nearly done,
That's
Rumpus.
part of
Just
it.
let him get to the end.
Let
Let me get to the end. He's nearly done, I'm sure.
Okay, sorry. Sorry for interrupting.
So basically, as you see, it bounces off this arrow. Or the light is going in the direction of the arrow, bounces off the object, hits the ground, and since the ground is heated up, the medium changes. So so there's like a density gradient, and the density gradient causes the light to bounce, or not bounce, but basically refract towards the observer. Any objections to that?
Ben.
It'll cause
No,
it to
you're
warp.
supporting what MIT say on the matter. I'll send you an MIT link if you want to have a read through this. It might help you, and there's better pictures that you can use to make your point in future. I'll send it to
Okay,
Nathan in
yeah,
the Skype
yeah.
chat. Page
Sounds
18
good,
in this
sounds good.
MIT
So,
document,
I mean,
mate.
but my question was that how do mirages work on a curved surface? Because if light is bouncing off a curved surface, let me go over here. Wouldn't the light just basically run into the curve itself?
They don't
Well,
work on
your
a curved
picture right
surface.
there does not model what is happening, so that's why you have conceptual error there.
Light is actually really weird. Like if you put a glass next to on the floor and have a little bit of water in it, and the light coming in from the window near your curtains is touching the curtains, it'll reflect the color of the curtains into your cup, and you'll see the curtains in your cup. So like it's something which is called like internal reflection, something like complete internal reflection, which is like if you have a beam of light and any other light source sort of crosses that, as if they're like if it's on the same sort of wavelength, they'll cross, and it can carry signals back inside itself and like reflect really weird. So like I kind of think that this reflection thing, it does have a fair bit to do with mirages. Like
Yeah. So my question is, like, I've been looking for how you would model a mirage on a curved surface, and I haven't seen one. And since you guys are saying my model is obviously wrong, I was wondering, could you guys model what a mirage will look like on a curved surface? Because I really don't know it. I've been honestly looking.
All right, arrive. We've got a model of that exact point. There's in the chat. Nathan's put the MIT paper. Just click that thing and go to page 18, and you'll see how the mirages are explained. So have a good read of that. But if you get in touch with me offline, I'll show you the model, how it doesn't work on a curve, which they obviously won't accept, but it's been modeled using Blender. So I can answer that specifically to you. It doesn't work.
The problem is it can bounce so much. It's not just like a straight line. Like at the same time, the sun's shooting down rays at the bottom of that object and at the road. So there's all light bouncing around in that area. Like each single ray, as tiny as they would be from that sun, that bounces around, like, and like, I mean, I don't feel like the curve would really affect that sometimes. Like it could still bounce around in that area and cause a sort of mirror or mirage-y sort of thing. Like I think they both could, is what I'm saying.
No, they can't. The curved surface doesn't do it.
Same.
I would just love to see somebody model it if they could.
Well, I can give you some.
I'm looking at the paper.
I know someone that has modeled it. I'll see if I can get him online.
But it is weird that like color from my curtains will carry across the room into my cup, into my like cup of water, and I'm seeing the curtains from across there, like over to the side of me on the wall, like where the sun's coming in my room. Like I'm seeing the colors in my cup. It's kind of weird how light can carry those. It was more or less an image, like in my cup of the curtains. Like it was kind of weird.
That's optics.
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
round,
so
round,
would that
it's
be a
curved,
reflection?
It has a lens effect.
Yeah, would that be a reflection rather than the light projecting through the curtains?
All I'm saying is that it has the ability to carry it a long distance, really. Like even it's as small as a cup, but like
Everything you can see, just because the sunlight is brighter, doesn't mean that something on the other side that's not as bright does not have light emanating from it that can be observed. That's how photographs work. Basic optics.
Well, that's reflected light, Owen.
No, it doesn't matter what it's light. It's light coming
so,
off there.
So light
reflected,
so your wall in your house is emanating light, is it?
What?
So the wall in your house is emanating light, is it? Or is
Are you
it
asking
light
me
being
about-
reflected off the wall?
Sorry. If you're talking to me about the reflection in my cup, was
talking to Arwen.
No, I was trying to like get Arwen to admit he's deluded.
And we're not dealing with
all the light
glasses
is
of water
reflected.
with
Of course it is.
refraction and mirage.
It's refracted. It's reflected. It's going on
Well,
all
there's only
directions,
certain things that emanate
coming
light
from
then,
whatever
Arwen,
source
isn't
it
there?
comes.
Well, there is quite an atmosphere that light can throw itself across and cause all sorts of weird things to happen sometimes.
It's flailing.
No, but the mirage thing is a specific effect that's caused by the exchange of heat between one surface and another type of surface, like land and air or water and air. And that causes the heat exchange, that causes this weird reflection type mirage effect. It has nothing to do with refraction by the air, because that's
I think it's greater with
it's a mirror-like effect.
It's greater
Well,
with
I mean,
Mirror,
it's still,
mirage.
yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
And
Can I have a
it's,
go?
it's,
Can I have a
Get him,
have a
Rumpus.
go? Right. Let me just show this. I mean, I haven't finished this. This is the thing I was working on yesterday when I stopped and did the determination. Oh, by the way, we've got to mention this. The house that Anthony identified yesterday. I should show you that. I found its exact coordinates, and using this thing, can you see my screen share here of the picture of Alaman?
Yeah, go on.
Right. Yeah, that house that Anthony detected, wherever it was. It's in this other thing. Hold on. No, it's not. Is it? Right. Where's it gone? Oh, it's down here. Bottom part of this presentation. I did it. I moved it down here. Right. That house that I worked out. Oh, I've moved this graphic and lost the. Oh no, it's just hidden by this other graphic. Oh, there we go. Right, that house that he identified here. Bloody thing. That house there, I use because I can now with this diagram and with this knowledge of the pixels per degree, I can identify anything in the picture.
Knowledge.
Sorry. I can identify anything. I can identify the heading to anything in this picture now, because I've now got this resolution and I know the number of pixels and I know the heading. So I did that. This is the house here that Anthony spotted and then wanted to know where it was, and so I did this little thing here. And also Alex did the same thing, actually, as again.
Could you zoom in on it and let me make sure that we're talking about the same house?
I think it's the same. Well, I'm reasonably sure it is. That's the one there, I think. If I can move this out of the way.
Just let me see it though. Zoom in a little bit so I can see it.
Okay. Unfortunately, I can't. Unfortunately, it's at the limit of my. Oh, let's move the damn thing. Yeah, there we go. There it is. There. Oh no, so. Oh, I'm moving the bloody. Sorry, I can't do that. Let me just. I've gone and grouped it. Damn you. Oh, I'm gonna have to group that with the picture, otherwise I'll lose the line with the. Let me just group that with the picture. I'll zoom into that. Just move it all together. Right. Right. That's the house that you identified.
I didn't identify. I suggested. Let's use the word suggestion.
Yeah. Okay, it's the white object. Sorry. Okay, it's the white object that you pointed at in the picture. You may have forgotten. Okay, you totally. I mean, you might have forgotten where you pointed, but that.
No, I know exactly what you're referring to. Do you want to show it on Google Earth so we can see it?
I can do, but I thought you don't seem to like me using Google Earth. You seem to mock me using the picture. I'll show you. Okay, I'll show it on Google Earth in a second. But I'm just saying. Well, like, I'll go.
I really wanted to use Google Earth.
The one below. You've got it directly below in this image, I think.
Well,
if you just scroll down 3 inches
anyway,
on this image.
The blob. This is the white blob that Anthony was saying he thought was on the beach, but he wasn't. He didn't say absolutely, but he thought it seemed likely because that's the image he found on Google Earth. I then, and Alex did as well. Actually, I don't know if he did this, but I certainly did this. I then worked out using the number of degrees per pixel I've now got for this scale because I did because what you saw how I worked out the edges and things. I now know I can now work out the heading to any object in this picture. So having
just show it on Google Earth, please.
Sorry?
Show it on Google Earth. Let's see what the house is.
Well, just let me finish my bloody sentence. Jesus Christ. So this is the blob that I believe Anthony identified, and I've worked out it's a heading of 240.196 from my picture. And if you go to Google Earth, now unfortunately when I share Google Earth, I don't think you can see it. So if you look at a heading of 240.16
is it a bit like the curvature? You can't quite see it.
Sorry?
Just please show it on Google Earth. Let's see the house on Google.
Okay. Okay, all right. Unfortunately, when I share on Google Earth, I can do that because I've got it here, the White House. Here we go. Now I'll now share I'll share Google Earth, but I don't think for some reason it goes all white. I'll probably do it again. So let's see how it goes. For some reason, when I share my Google Earth, I can give you the coordinates so you can all go and look as well. But let's just see if when I share it, for some reason it all seems to go white. But let's see what happens this time. I bet it's going to go white. Is it gone white? Not. Can you see anything? Is it all white, this page?
No, we've got your file viewer. Oh yeah, that's gone all white, yeah.
Or is it all white?
Right, could you drop the coordinates in the side chat, and then Nathan, if you Skype them over to me so I could.
So here's the White House. Measurements. Where's the bloody?
Do you want to give us the north value, mate?
Yeah, it's just for some reason I can't find where's it in the properties of. I've put a click on it and it's not told me what the where's the position of the damn thing. It doesn't give me the coordinates of that pin I've done. How do you get the coordinates of the pin?
We can't even see you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, in Google Earth, when you've got a pin, how do you get the coordinates from the pin? I don't seem able to.
Right click on it and click properties.
Right click. Yeah.
Hi, Chris.
Hiya.
Why is my pin? Oh, so it's the line. That's why. Oh, sorry. It's a line. That's why it was misbehaving. Okay. Where's my? So to the White House. Okay. Let me do. Right. I will just get the coordinates of this.
I'm seeing a white screen.
Yeah, I know. I did say that was a problem. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I will just. Here we go. So let's.
Can you fix it on?
Oh, there we go. Got it. Okay, here we go. Here are the coordinates. If you can't see anything, I'm putting the coordinates into the side chat.
Just read me the 3 for the north value, and I'll type them in.
Well, I'll put it in here so you can see it. So there's the first one.
Yeah, we can't see it.
We know that. Jesus.
Hey, how about you figure this out on your own?
I know.
And actually start to present it when you figure this out.
I told you that before I started, you moron. But I'm putting in the values
thank you.
here.
Why don't you figure this out on your own time?
He wasn't planning on using Google Earth. It was requested of him, Arwen.
Yeah, so right. I've now put the coordinates into the group chat.
I can't cut and paste them. Sorry, Rumpus. Can you just read them out?
Google Earth yourself. And when you go,
sorry, Rumpus. Rumpus. Any chance you can just read them? For some reason, it won't let me cut and paste.
Okay, I'll read them out. Here we go. Then, so in fact, I tell you what, I'll type them. I can put them into the. Sorry, I can put them into the.
Just say them.
The north.
I've got the north one. He's not in the Hangout. He's on Skype, so he can't see it, and I can't cut it.
I'll paste them in here so you can.
No, you're not listening, Rumpus. Please, for the love of God, can you just say them? Can you just speak them?
I will.
Just give me the west. Give me the west one. I've got the north one. Give me the west 3 numbers. So I've got. Is it 4 degrees?
Okay.
Well,
right. Right. Here we go. So there they are. I've put them in here. They are 54, 54 degrees, 13 minutes. 5.272 seconds north, and
I've got that.
4 degrees, 24 minutes, 5.79 seconds west. And if you go into Google Earth, you will find yourself right next to a big white building. And you could go to Google.
What was the last
Google
2 numbers?
Street View, and you will see the building.
79.
79.
And I suppose I could do that in on the browser, but for some reason when I use the application, it doesn't screen grab to white. But if you go, I could try that in actually. I could screen grab the browser version of that. I suppose see if that works.
Right, that's took me to London, so I've obviously got that wrong. All right, keep that on screen for a sec. Just keep that on screen. 54, 35.5, 72, and the west is 4, 24.5,
13.5. You said 35.5. Right. 54, 13.5.
72 north, and then 4, 24.5, 79.
Yep.
Now I get that when I put that into Google. That takes me into central London, Tutbury in London. Well, Derbyshire.
Okay, let's see what have I done something stupid. Okay, let's check this.
24 minutes, 5.79 seconds.
54 degrees, 13.5, 72. Yeah, that one's right.
Sorry, it's not. It's 13 minutes, 5.72 seconds. It's 13 minutes.
Yeah, I've got that.
5.72 seconds.
I've got that. And then 4
degrees, 24 minutes, 5.79 minutes
5.79
west.
Can someone just double check that? Because I've got that. It's taking me into like central England.
Oi, move. Oi, stop it. Let me just. I'll go and double check this. I'll actually go and put it in manually. You've mistyped it. That's perfectly correct. I've just retyped that value as one string into Google Earth Pro, and it's gone to exactly the right place.
So maybe it's to do with the space in between it.
Thanks.
I was hoping that Riley could actually be right about something in 2017 before it closes out, but it doesn't seem that he can be right about absolutely anything.
I mean,
no, I'm still getting it down at Tetbury, just outside Derbyshire, and I've copied it exactly the way it says on screen. Could someone just, Nathan, could you just copy and paste it to me so that I'm ruling out my own?
I can't. I've tried. For some reason, it won't let me cut from the notes page. I don't know
which
why.
one are you putting in first, Nancy? Because I put it in and I've got the Isle of Man. So I just
see what I mean. You just can't get anything right.
4 degrees, 24.
Oh, hang on. Unless it's because there's a space. Ah, it's because there was a space after the 54. I've got it.
Oh, that's just hilarious.
Ah, right. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's the house that I think. Right, but would you agree that the elevation of that house is 320 feet?
Okay, well that's okay. So that's I haven't bothered to do this bit of calculation. I was trying to do this refraction presentation, but let's go and have a look. Okay, I can't remember what. Let's go and have a look on my see what it says. It says here that it's 96 meters. Is that what did you say it was? 100.
I'm just doing 320 feet. He said.
I'm just doing the mega flump calcs on it.
So 97 meters, I think, actually, when you get down on the ground level under this.
All right, so the distance in miles is 37.33. Viewer height, we'll give you 100. No, we'll do it on 35 because it's your model.
No, I think it's 50. I think people are being overly critical of you actually, Anthony, on regards to this height. I think it's close to 50. The one thing you've got completely and utterly wrong, again, of course, is you don't understand if the water drops, you add it to the observer height, and I give you a demonstration of how utterly wrong you are on that. But if you put in, but your actual height, I think, is close to about 50 because the tide goes by about 5 meters down. If I've done a little calculation,
what we'll do,
there,
we'll get Ranty. You can have that one out with Ranty when for tonight's show because Ranty's back tonight. You can argue it with Ranty, but Ranty tells me that you take it off, you don't add it to it.
Yeah, Ranty is wrong.
Utter idiot.
Maybe he is.
I can show you visually in a moment.
Before we do,
like,
I think I've got to agree with Anthony. You know, we're just going to run out of time on this point because obviously just to get to the same point with you all on the same point on Google Earth, it's taken a good 10 minutes. So just if we can just stay on this one point. Just for now.
Right.
We'll stay on this one point.
So we found that, so I can
37.
find anything on this picture. I can find it. So if anybody wants to find anything, and Alex will be able to do the same because he's able to do the same thing. I can find anything, the heading to anything on this picture, and tell you exactly what it is. So I know exactly what the house, and we know that house is at 97 meters. This, hopefully you can still.
So if you're that good with it, maybe you can tell me where the curve is because it's supposed to be behind 500 feet of curvature and it's only at 300 feet.
Right, okay, well, I didn't get around to doing that kind of calculation. I'll go and check that.
Well, that's the whole point of the observation.
It's on screen now, actually, Rumpus. I don't know if you can see the watch page as well if you're in the chat, but I've got it displayed for the audience. So it's literally, we've got it. Again, this is Ranty. Ranty's gone along and put blocks in with the exact measurements all the way along the coast. So bear with me, Rumpus. I just want to explain what's on screen. So we've got what is effectively a hologram blocked by Earth's curve below the red line, and what we have a line of sight with because it's not blocked by Earth curve above the red line. Obviously, we see all of it because we just see it, but for illustration purposes, what you guys say in the heliocentric model is blocked, obscured, whatever word you want to use, by Earth curve is below the red line on the image going to the public currently.
Okay, well, given that Rand has got a terrible record of getting things right, I'm not going to. But he might be right. I'm not prepared to say one way. But given his record, given that he's done everything wrong so far, I suspect there's an error. But he might be right. I'm not. But I won't dispute. But I will go away and do the calculation, see exactly where the non-refractive case is. But I can just do it a little bit now.
Bear with me. We've been joined by Lewis Sackett. Just want to say hello to him. How are you doing, Lewis? Good to have you.
Right, so...
hold on. I just want to check we can hear Lewis. I don't think we can hear him yet.
Sorry, okay.
No, you heard me.
Oh, good. There we go. Yes, we do. How you doing, Grim? Good to have you here as well. You hear us, Grim?
Yeah.
Good. Right, sorry to interrupt and rumpus you.
So what are you claiming about that red line, Nathan?
He's saying it's where the horizon should be, and therefore anything below it we shouldn't be able to see it, which is, when the non-refraction...
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I said.
Yes.
That's not what I said. I didn't say the horizon should be there. That's not what I said.
What did you say?
Red line.
What are you claiming about that red line?
But do you want me to explain it? I can try if Rumpus is okay, because he's in the middle of a presentation, Lou. But if he's willing, I'll try and explain it to you for, I think it's the 4th time now, if you want me to.
I mean,
I just got here. I'd like
Oh, sure, right, yeah, obviously.
He's saying we shouldn't be able to see anything beneath the red line.
Maybe even 7 times if necessary.
Rumpus, I really
I
like
don't know
your
how many times it
his
takes to
mouth.
explain it to Lou. It entertains the audience every time he doesn't get it, so I don't mind explaining to you.
I don't get it either. So explain it to me too, please.
Sure, I don't mind. If that's okay with Rumpus, he's in the middle of doing a
Yeah,
presentation.
go ahead, Nathan. It seems to be demand here.
Sure, okay. I'll just share my screen with you so you can see what I'm doing. Let me know when you see.
I see.
Okay. Do you see this?
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Horrible.
Okay. According to the heliocentric model.
Wrong.
Okay. It seems that
You mean
Lou
the- just say the
can't.
cur- you mean the spherical-
It's all right. You
you
carry
mean the
on,
spherical
Rumpus.
model.
No worries.
Just
You
say
carry on,
spherical
Rumpus.
Earth model.
No worries.
Spherical Earth model is what you mean.
I want to know what you think that red line is, and I just told you it's not according to the heliocentric model.
It's
There you
according
go.
to a spherical. It's presumably according to the spherical model, according to the Metabunk's calculation. I think is what Nathan's going to say.
Oh, so well, if you go off that, is that correct, Nathan?
Has Nathan gone quiet?
Do you
I've explained it to him
corroborate
4
what
times,
Rumpus
and I
has
get
just
about
said
3
about
words
that?
in, and Lewis can't help himself because this is very triggering because he doesn't get it, and I
Is
understand.
that-
I sympathise.
Well, no, you're
like,
wrong.
See,
You're
you're
wrong,
already
and you're
interrupting
setting-
me.
Let
You're
me say
already
this.
interrupting me. You
Lewis,
can't
you
help
can
yourself,
hear it.
Louis.
Let
Like
me say
Alex,
it.
like Alex, you just don't get it, and that's fine. I have a bit of pity for you.
Does that red line come from Metabunk?
Meow.
Sorry, I didn't hear your question. Say again, Lou. Sorry.
Does that red line come from a curvature calculation that you like that Rumpus says you got from Metabunk?
It comes from the curve calculation that you guys tell us the heliocentric model should conform to. I believe.
With an observer height of what?
See, I haven't finished my answer, Lou, and you're already interrupting me.
observer
I'm
height
going to
of
give
what?
up, Lou, because you just can't keep your. You're just too triggered by this. It's just too annoying for you.
I'm not- I'm
Fine,
not
I'll
triggered
go
by
on
it. I'm
mute.
trying to
You
get-
thrash
I'm
it
trying
out
to get
amongst yourselves.
exactly where
But
you're
before I
getting that
do,
red
before I
line
do,
from.
somebody who can.
He
We've been joined by.
Lewis, he was trying to
Bear
actually
with
say
me.
that
I
he
just need
hadn't
to
got round
introduce
discussing-
Paul. Bear with me. I just want to say a happy hello.
Hello,
to Paul.
yes, I'm here. Carry on.
Thank you,
Carry
Paul.
on.
Very pleased to have you here.
Are you going to finish
I'm
your
sorry for interrupting you
description,
so many
Nathan, or
times,
shall I
Nathan.
get
Let
on?
me know where you get that red line from.
Well, I understand. Sorry to interrupt you, Nathan, but I'll do it quickly for you. I believe.
I'm still sitting here, have no idea what's going on because I asked Nathan to please explain it to me, and then
I'll explain.
Lewis interrupted, and now it's not going anymore.
Right. I believe what's happened is that Ranty has used the Metabunk calculator to work out various points along that image and working. This is assuming, of course, he was incorrect about what features were where, so he's absolutely no idea what was where on that image because he got them all wrong before. So no doubt he's got it wrong again. So that will invalidate the whole thing. But assuming he got the images right, he supposedly used the Metabunk calculator, which is the one that Nathan's referring to, the one that people most often use to do the curve calculator, to work out where that red line is. In other words, what we should and shouldn't be able to see if we didn't have any refraction.
Is that what he's doing?
Which is a reasonable thing. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. So he's trying to work out where the horizon is, where you, the astronomical horizons it's called, what you should and should not be able to see. And he's used the Metabunk calculator. I don't know whether he's put in a refraction value or not. Nathan hasn't mentioned that, but presumably hasn't told him. But that's where he believes that the horizon should be. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. But given the fact that Ranty doesn't know the one side of Isle of Man from the other at the moment, I suspect he's put in all the wrong values, even if he did add in the refraction. And of course, I can show why that refraction issue is is an invalid way to do
Well,
it anyway.
maybe not do it now because Rancy's not here.
It seems
Wait
like
until he is here.
I was trying to explain how
thing is making a mountain out of a molehill here.
Okay, thanks. I'm looking at an image that shows the sky underneath the beach, on which doesn't show the beach actually, but where the beach should be, you see the sky underneath the land on both ends of this image, which is a clear indication of refraction. So there's no way that we can take an actual measurement from that refraction and be able to do anything scientific with it other than compare it to other images. It's not going to be comparable to the land. We're not going to be able to do that without knowing all the other data points in the barometric pressure. Right.
You can, for a start, it's obviously very extreme. At the very, very bottom, you're looking, you're basically dancing across the water. And there, it's really are going to be incredible trouble. It's going to be turbulent.
Yeah, what's the math for dancing across water? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean to say you can't deal with the higher stuff. I mean, as I'm about to explain in my presentation, the refraction issue changes considerably depending on the angle you're using. And if you're using it at that very low angle of wave height, you're not going to be able to see anything. So you can ignore all that as an issue. But as you go up, it becomes more and more accurate and you get less and less refraction. So you can do things with it, but I'm about to show you some of the issues in my presentation. But what we don't know, obviously, presumably Nathan hasn't been told, whether or not Ranty A has used with information you've given him yesterday as to what is where, and so therefore he may have put in the wrong values for what the places were and the distances. He may have used his old, the thing he did in the presentation about 2 days ago, where he claimed all these places were on the Isle of Man, which were completely wrong. So if he's put in all those values for distances, this line will be incorrect. He may or may not have put in the refraction value, which is not necessarily going to be
right.
correct.
Let's not talk about Ranty. He's not here to defend himself. Let's talk about your point you want to make.
Okay, let's talk about Okay, so we'll wait.
Well, if Randy's not here to defend himself, let's take the red line off the screen until he is, yeah?
Yeah, you carry on trying to produce my show. I'll do exactly as I please, Lewis. If you have a show, you feel free to produce it how you feel fit, and I'll produce the show how I feel fit. And in the meantime, we'll let Rumpus carry on.
He's entitled to do that.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, Lewis, to be fair, Lewis, it's Rancy's a surgeon and he's entitled to make it and then for someone to disprove it. That's how it goes.
Yeah, so it's nothing wrong
white
with
blob.
So anyway,
first you need to disprove something else before you actually make this other claim to for me to disprove.
All right, let's see your presentation.
Ranty went away to the Metabunk calculator and did things with it to produce that line. Now, he may have used the wrong distances, the wrong objects, the wrong refraction, but he's done it and he's presented that as a piece of information. That's perfectly reasonable. Right. Yeah. Anyway, so it's like so I think you're being a bit unfair, and also on this height thing, I think you're overdoing it with it's not as bad as yours. It's less than 100 feet. I think definitely it's about. I think it's about 50. But anyway, so I don't want to. I better not get into that as well. But one thing we do know
isn't that like the most important variable when looking.
You're right. You're absolutely right in that, Lewis. It is.
Okay, so maybe we should get it right.
Well, okay. Well, okay. Okay. Well, I could go into that, but I was in the middle of talking about refraction. Given that was the,
well, I mean, you're putting the cart before the horse with refraction.
We're trying to tune out the result before we get to the start.
Let's do the refraction thing. I want to hear what he says about refraction.
Even if you put in 100 feet, it's still we still in theory. I haven't checked this. There's still some things we're seeing we shouldn't be able to see. So even if you put in the most favourable value for the height, as high as possible, it still doesn't give you the result of being able to see the things.
It does. Around 100 feet gives you about what.
Maybe the Rumpus would like to explain it to you. Maybe someone on your side can get it through to you.
Yeah, come on.
Maybe
I want to hear what
Rumpus
attempt
will get it through to Lou. Rumpus, maybe you can explain this
like
you've just done. You've just literally explained it, and immediately we've got Lou with cognitive dissonance. So you've just said it in a very concise way, much better than me, Rumpus.
Question what cognitive dissonance
he can't help talking
now.
over anybody when he's triggered. He's really funny. It's great guest. I love having Lou. So he's just explained it in a very concise way, Lou. It's really simple what he's just said. He's said it much better than me, much more concise. Thank you, Rumpus. And you've immediately got triggered by it and said no. I'm going into denial mode.
Effeminate voice you can find in muster, Nathan.
The initial video that Riley put out has the entirety of the Isle of Man, and part of it's obscured by curvature. And instead of focusing on the obvious flaws and obvious misunderstandings, Rumpus, you're taking the bait. You're talking about refraction.
Okay,
Lewis, you're adding nothing to it. Let's see what he says about refraction.
Yes.
Is that
and
Nathan,
the height of the objects being viewed.
Because I've got the VIP screen grab of Lewis's. Should we talk about that? Okay, let's talk about that instead.
No, let's talk about refraction. I want to hear what you got to say about refraction.
And talk about it wholesale.
Yeah, I've got a screen grab from your thing somewhere here. Oh, there we go. That's from your video, isn't? Can you see that? Can you see
my video? No, somebody else made that. I thought it was funny, and it was good for the presentation that I made. And I wouldn't even call what I did a presentation. I just
indeed. It was
pulled
just
up
a
his
thing you did
video.
quickly. Yeah, agreed. So you can see this, can you? This is your.
Yeah,
Rumpus. At this point, Rumpus, I just want to check that you're aware that that's been counted.
No, it hasn't been countered. Just saying words does not counter it, Anthony.
I don't think. I think you're about 50 feet.
Just so I can say this. Sorry, Rumpus. I'm really sorry to interrupt you again. Rumpus, bear with me
people.
just 1 second. Rumpus, I just want to get this in for the benefit of the audience. So the previous show, if we're on 83 now, I can't see if it would be 82.
What about 82?
Bear with me. The last 20 minutes, if that, we have a graphic illustration using the left-hand side buildings, if you can see them.
And I went over what was wrong with that. You remember?
God, Lou, just calm down, Lou. Take a
well,
walk,
I mean, you're
maybe.
still presenting it as if it's valid, and I already destroyed that too.
No, Rumpus is presenting it, Lou. Just step off for a minute. Just let the adults speak, eh, Lou?
Sure.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead. Bring up something we talked about
We've had a graphic
yesterday.
illustration on the previous debate that you can see that uses this hut as reference and scales it down the beach 4 times, with the 4th one being intersected by the shoreline. Okay.
Right. So what would I? So the first question we have to ask, Riley, can you tell me where I'll move the pointer to where you actually were on this image?
On the path at the side of the on the path.
I meant to say Anthony there. Anthony.
On the path at the side of the far right caravan.
Is my pointer close to it?
Not the side. You were above it.
It's nearer to where the black line stops.
Oh right.
Yeah,
So here,
I would say it's above where the black line stops. In fact, we
let
should go
Anthony
back
be
to
the
the
one-
video and compare the angles of when he's looking at the caravans, and you'll be able to see it for yourself, Rumpus.
Right.
Well, I could show you on the previous video.
Camera height is at the height of the top of this building.
It's above that. It's about 15 feet, 20 feet above that.
Oh right. I haven't looked at the video, so I don't.
Yeah, maybe you should do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But I haven't. Okay.
Just for triggered Lou.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Rumpus.
Thank
Thank you.
This is the
Rumpus,
argument.
can I just get
and
you to
Rumpus,
repeat
are
your...
you even a
Sorry,
flat
just
earther?
I've been trying for ages, Rumpus. Rumpus, please.
Yes, that's a
I
much
think you're
better
just trying to
place
make
put
flat
his
earthers
observer.
look
And
bad,
don't
aren't
forget
you,
he was
buddy?
on a tripod. That's why I'm pushing it further up the hill.
Sure, I know, but you didn't listen to his
You better
first
watch
statement,
out,
Lou.
guys. You got
Lou
people
made...
that'll come in and make
Bear
y'all
with
look
me
bad
just
too,
a
on
second.
purpose,
I know you want to
so
troll
it
this
might be-
entire
Yeah, we know that.
stream,
So,
Grim, but
Anthony,
sorry, I'm
would
just
you
going to get
please
Rumpus
tell
to
me
repeat
where in
something.
this picture
I should want
is my
Rumpus to
pointer the
repeat
right
something
place
for
to the
Lou's
top of
benefit.
the
Please,
camera
Rumpus.
was, or where your
Rumpus,
well was?
Rumpus,
Get him,
Rumpus,
guys. He's really
Rumpus.
making y'all look
Hello?
bad.
Rumpus, I just want you to repeat something that Lou... It's not because I'm taking the mickey out of him. I just want him to understand, literally, so we don't have to do it over and over again. And you've said this, and he just immediately...
Just assume that I understand. You've
Right,
said it
just
already.
let me get
You've
to the
said
end
it
of my
over and
sentence,
over.
Lou.
Assume
It'll
that I heard
take
you.
5 seconds, right? All I want you to do is say the sentence again where you explain that it doesn't matter how far you push the observer height, we still have the same problem. Please, can you just repeat that for Lou's benefit?
I believe it. I haven't checked. I must admit up here, but I haven't because I've only yesterday since that presentation. I haven't. Only now I've identified the places like the height of that White House. I haven't actually gone to done the calculation and see exactly how much is missing. But I believe from my initial calculation a few days ago that even at 100 feet there was still a problem. But I haven't checked. I'm only
Hold on,
80%
we'd
sure
just like
of
to welcome Spurs to the panel.
Yes, thank you,
How you doing,
Spurs.
So,
Good to
yeah,
have you.
right,
Yeah.
but the first thing we need to know is
we
where
just getting to a
Anthony
critical
says-
point. I just want to acknowledge that Lou understands that before we go any further.
I'm not. I'm
Understands
only
what?
80%
You
sure
didn't
of
say
that.
anything.
I'm only 80% sure of that, Nathan. So although I've said it, at the moment, because I haven't done the calculations, I haven't been to Metabunk today.
Okay,
or-
I have.
or my own
I'm prepared to stand by that statement
But
because
it's
we have
certainly
done the
very close, but
calculations
I
and I've seen them
believe
done
it's still
several
a problem,
times.
yeah. I
But
believe
just
it's
can we
still a
get an
problem.
acknowledgement from Lou? I just want that, please.
I didn't hear a specific thing that you want acknowledgement from. You kind of said
Okay,
a generalized
I'll say it again
statement
then.
that wasn't
It
having
wouldn't
to do with
matter.
anything.
I'll say it again for you, Lou. I'll make it. Hopefully, I'll
Good,
get to the end of my
thank you.
sentence. Right. It wouldn't matter if that height was pushed to 100 feet.
I heard that you say that. I understand that that's something you think. I would not stand by that statement.
Sure, Rumpus
Now,
has just said it, although he's
Okay,
given a
let's
load of disclaimers, admittedly. But Rumpus has basically just said that, and we have just confirmed it and said we have done the maths.
Rumpus,
Okay,
did
I
you
will
say
go
that
check-
the
okay,
observer
let me
height
go and
doesn't
check.
matter?
Okay. Oh no.
He's not
I will
getting
go
it.
and check
I
the
give
value
up.
then to see how
Sorry,
the
Rumpus. I
problem
give
is.
up. Over to you, mate.
Shall I? Can I come back? I believe.
Why is it so hard for you to talk, Rumpus?
because I'm trying to decide whether to go to the Metabunk calculator. Thanks, Louis, for that little jab. I'm just determining whether to go off and do the calculation to make absolutely sure what height I believe we need.
Aren't you guys supposed to be on the same team?
Yeah, that doesn't mean to say, yeah, but whether we're still allowed to disagree about things. Right, so before I was going to go and do it, before I was going to go to the Metabunk, I was going to find out from Anthony exactly how high he was, where he is, and he's saying that he was where my pointer is about, as I understand. Is that where his feet was or where the camera was?
Right, Nathan, do us a favor, Nathan. Just pull up Google Maps and just go up to that path that I was on. And
no way. I've got to keep control of the show, Anthony. If you want to do it on Skype, I can present it for you if you like. If Grill will let me answer your question.
Where does it look like he's standing, Rumpus?
If you can present it on Skype, I can present it on screen, but I've got to keep control of it out. If I start doing stuff under the tabs.
Where does it look like he's standing?
Let me know when it's being shown.
Okay, give me 10 seconds.
Oh wow, yes, indeed, Louis. Yeah, indeed, that is well above the thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's well above that caravan. That's a good 10, 15 feet above that, actually. In fact, so to the left here, we can actually see the little hillock. I think that's the first hillock. So the bit to the left here on that video, yes, that's the first hillocky bit. So we could identify that in the other picture, couldn't we?
And also, now I skip forward a little bit. You can see over here on the right these wooden pier things. Yeah. How many feet do you think it is to that low tide?
Well, it's the vertical that matters. It could be flat. It could be 2 feet and flat.
I know. I'm just demonstrating how dramatic.
Okay,
the
you're on,
observations
Anthony.
Are that Anthony just brushes off and ignores, even though he was there.
Gents, can I speak for just 30 seconds and then you can do what you want, okay?
While you're speaking, I'm going to put up the part of the video where you question the very tip of the Isle of Man being Scotland.
Yeah, we've done that. We know he's I mean, it was obviously ridiculous. I must admit, Luke, you can feel a bit aggrieved because you were given quite a bit of stick from Nathan saying, where did you make this claim from? And it's quite obvious there he's making that claim. So you've got some right to feel aggrieved about that.
Gents.
But anyway, Anthony's trying to say something, isn't he? But
can I just point something out to you, right? Any point along here, I'm happy to concede that you can have any point, any elevation point. And the highest, I didn't go any further than the golf course thing here. But if you want to pick the highest point that I can see, 52 feet. Down to 37 feet, 36 feet.
Oh, you mean listed on Google Earth, or is that your own estimation from having been there?
Are you seeing what's on screen, Lewis?
Yeah, let me stop sharing. I'll go over to your screen.
Because you should see this because it puts your argument into context.
Google Earth is not good at guesstimating and height.
But it's the best that I've got to go on, and given that I'm testing your model, Lewis, it's the only thing that I'm prepared to accept.
Section, okay? A 90 square meter average is way too much margin for error.
I don't see how that can be, because if you move the pointer around in Google Earth, it changes.
Listen, wait. Lewis has missed the point.
Right,
what I'm saying is the highest point is only 51 feet.
It's averaging it over a lot of different 90 square meters, so of course it's going to change.
Right, but Lewis, the highest point is only 51 feet, okay? So I'm happy to give you 100.
And if you think that's 51 feet, then you're wrong again. Okay. The only thing you should take away from this is that
it's irrelevant what I think, dude. What's relevant is what your model tells us it is, and we're going by your model.
That's what Google Earth tells you.
Because I wouldn't be allowed to make stuff up.
Riley, that's what Google Earth tells you. That's not what the model tells you.
Your model is clear, Lewis. It's clearly identifying the heights. So if you want to make stuff up,
is not an accurate model. Okay, that's all I can tell you.
Yeah, but you can. But having got we can see from the picture that was taken of Anthony's viewing site, we can do what you sort of did with the caravans, and when we can estimate and get, so we can work out what the height is and add in the extra bit of water, the low tide that unfortunately Anthony thinks you subtract from the observer height rather than adding it to it.
Well, we're going to come back to that tonight with Ranty, aren't we? So we're not going to deal with the water
Rumpus, just like I said yesterday, best case scenario, they're morons. I said retarded, and I would stand by that. But
Lewis, basically, Lewis, you're saying that you disagree with Google and think that there's massive amounts more height here than what Google tells us.
Was trying to tell us. So Anthony's claim is that he cannot be any more than 51 feet high. I think is what from
correct
up or the cliff face. I think if you add on the low tide, I think that's about 5 meters. I looked at the tide tables on surf.
Yeah, but hang on. Let's forget about the tide for the minute. Let's just start with the 100 feet. We'll give you 100 feet for the purpose of illustration. Okay, it's double what we actually
were. Generous. I think that's generous.
Well, Rumpus, let him finish.
No, I'm saying I'm on his side here. I'm agreeing that's a very generous thing to give to us.
I know, but Lewis doesn't agree.
No,
So
the show
I'm
ends, it's
prepared
going to
to
look like, you know, Anthony was wrong and he hasn't explained.
I'm prepared to
what he's trying to
concede
say.
100 feet if the ballers are prepared to concede that is lifting you behind the curve of the earth that we don't see. I wasn't 50 feet in height. My own height's not 50 feet. So I'm only like 6 foot. So if the real world
You're not 6
stats
foot,
clearly
Anthony.
show 50 feet is the highest point, 52 feet.
Like
So
5'8".
if you go at a
Smaller than
value
me.
that's higher than that, based on the elevation of Google Earth, you guys have got to concede that you're manipulating the evidence.
Right,
No,
no,
you're manipulating the evidence.
What we will
Your
concede.
goal is to make someone concede to something, even though it's not comporting to actual reality.
Yeah, you're at least double that distance.
No, I do
Not
not.
according to your model.
It could literally be triple that in refraction.
Yes,
Not
with the
according to your
refraction,
model.
Easily.
Right, so I'm prepared to believe that it's about 50. I mean, if you add on the meter, the tide, I think if it's about 50 feet, and I think that's probably not too highest you could be. But add on another 5 meters of the tide. So that gives you 65 feet. I believe would be an accurate. But I haven't done the full check on this, and I think giving us 100 feet is a very generous thing to do. So if we then need to justify if that, and as I say, I haven't done the measurement calculation of given the viewer height of 100 feet, whether or not that house, which I've identified now, is at 97 meters on the other side, and it's just above the horizon. So we
need a notary public to be walking around with Riley
Can-
taking pictures because he's such a liar.
Anthony,
Can I suggest
no, I
we
don't think
stop
he's lying.
speculating
Anthony, you
not
said
onto the white blob?
He is.
Anthony, you said you were 6 feet tall. How tall are these posts?
That's a
relative
lie.
to you?
Anthony is 5'7".
I
So
actually have
actually,
a
it's a
picture
bit
of
annoying that
me.
you did say you were by that thing, and it's quite obvious from the picture that Lewis has taken that you were in fact quite a long way up from that caravan. So you weren't being very good at returning.
We can use. Sorry,
Listen,
Rumpus.
listen. I did go up and down
like
that
they
ravine
say,
to
I
get
get a
different
stabbing
heights.
and an irking
However,
in my
I'm
stomach
already prepared to
when
give you
things
50.
go
We'll give you
unnoticed.
100. So in other words, it's irrelevant whether your point's accurate or not. We're prepared to concede 100. However, you've got to concede that you're also
Okay.
adjusting the figures.
You better concede 100.
So can we move
No,
on to the white
it's
blob?
subjective.
Yeah.
It's conditional upon you accepting that you're fudging the maths. If you want to
No,
fudge the
there's
maths,
no.
we'll give you the
Let's
100.
go over some very basic things that even you can do, and it blows my mind that you wouldn't have done this. So there
Where
are
would you
other
like us to get the
pictures
measurement from,
of the
Lou?
location
Where do
you
you
were
want the
standing
measurement to come from? Where do you want the measurement from?
We can use these fence posts.
You're telling me you would favour using fence posts over what it just says in
Yeah,
Google
they're an
Earth?
object in the environment, and we have multiple other objects to corroborate their height,
Okay,
like these
if you want to slap together something using the fence posts, and you can find out exactly how
Are you
high
going to
those
talk
fence
over me while
posts
I'm
are.
explaining to you the metric?
Not explain, show us graphically.
I am. I'm sharing my screen, Nathan.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah.
I'm not
thank
seeing.
you.
I'm seeing.
I
I've seen this
forgive
image
you.
before, though. Is this?
You don't overdo it, Louis.
No, let him do what he likes. He's here to. He's free. The platform's his. He can do what he wants.
The platform's yours.
He has a lot of
You know, currently the platform's yours. Lou. You've got the mic. You've got the mic, Lou.
And not really care, and then when
You've got the
somebody else
mic.
swears once, you just kick them without a warning.
Get back to the point.
So the spaces in these fences are typically 6 inches. That's typically how they're spaced. So if you assume that, you get about 6 inches from the top of the post to the beginning of the fence, then another 6. So you got 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot. And there might be another half a foot down there underneath the grass, but we're not too sure. So if you assume that these posts are 3 feet high, does that seem about right in their height to you when you were there, Anthony?
I actually have a picture, which I'm just going to find you now, of me actually doing one of these observations, and that might help you with the height thing. So you can go with whatever you want, Lewis. If you're talking about inches, you can have the inches.
Just pick it, pull it up, man.
So you've got loads of pictures of you failing to take measurements, right? That's what you're saying, basically. You put all the time and effort to do these pictures of you taking the observations, but you failed to even take the basic measurements when you know how important a viewer height is in these calculations.
And if there's something you could do that's simple, you could get a rope that's more than 35 feet long, section it off into, I don't know, meter sections with little tape, or, you know, whatever measuring increment you want. Put it on a wheel, put the wheel on a pole, and stick it out over the edge and let it drop until it touches the ground. And if your 35-foot rope doesn't touch the ground, guess what? You're not 35 feet high.
Sorry, I just want to get this clear, just so I'm understanding what you're saying, Lou. So our choices are, we've got three options. One, we can arbitrarily slap on a few feet, which is pretty much what you guys as Rumpus wants to do. Or we can go with Google Earth, or we can physically go there and measure it. Those are our three options. Of the three, you want to just arbitrarily slap a few feet on without referencing anything.
Oh, I would, if it were me, I would go there. But, you know, I live in Kansas.
Sure, I know.
Anthony's
there's three
the one who has
options.
the
So
opportunity
you're
to
saying
go
the
there,
rope
and he's the
option.
one- Look, Nathan, if you're going to start making ridiculous claims like there's missing curvature, rather than noticing the fact that you can't see all of it, which demonstrates that there is curvature, and thereby assuming that maybe you got your initial calculations wrong, rather than doing that, which is the reasonable thing, you're going on this huge tirade and insulting massive amounts of people for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, you still don't
One thing
understand
you
that
don't
what's
do
on
is
screen,
subtract
Lou, is
viewer
supposed to be
height from
obstructed by the
time.
curve of the Earth, but isn't being. You still don't understand that. You still seem to think that this horizon line is this horizon line. You don't get that we shouldn't see anything below the line because the Earth is in the way. You don't get that. This mirage,
there are
this
lots of
hologram, we
reasons
shouldn't
for
see.
that.
We shouldn't see this. We don't see this. In your model, we don't have line of sight with it, Lou.
You're confusing a lot of the audience, Lewis. Right?
Yeah, Lewis is just confused. He's not, I'm keeping the audience on track, Spurs. Lewis is just confused.
I'm confused.
Lewis is
Are we
confused.
supposed to see this land or not?
Lighthouse
that's
specifically. Should we see the lighthouse in the heliocentric model, or is the Earth in the way, Lewis?
Yes, you could see the lighthouse in the heliocentric model.
No, you
Probably
can't.
not from
That's
the
where you
beach.
don't understand, Lou. In the
Probably
heliocentric model,
not from
it is
the
obscured
beach.
by the Earth, Lou. That's where you don't
Probably
understand.
not from the beach, Nathan, but from up on that
Lewis,
hill.
you don't
you
seem to
could.
understand, and I'll explain it. I think we're on to the 8th time. The Earth
Now, you
is
see-
in
you
the
see-
way
I'm
of the
sharing my
lighthouse.
screen now.
Yeah, love it. The Earth's in the way of the lighthouse, Lou, in your model. But we see it.
From the beach, but not from a proper observer height, which demonstrates to you that.
Okay, let's get back. Sorry, Spurs. Let's just keep this on track. We're getting somewhere. Right. So with the observer height, we've got three choices, Lou. We've got go and measure it. Use Google
Yeah, we already
Earth.
went over the choices.
Hold
and
on.
you should be-
I know.
are
I'm
you
going to
an adult,
reiterate them.
Nathan?
We've got three
Is Anthony
choices:
an adult? He should
arbitrarily
be able to
add or
figure this out
subtract feet.
beforehand.
Go with Google Earth or go and measure it. Now, are you going to go and
Well,
measure
we
it?
sure shouldn't go with Google Earth. They're obviously wrong.
So you're saying we ignore Google Earth and either arbitrarily add and subtract stuff for no reason,
It's
or
not
go and measure
arbitrary,
it?
and
Are
it's
those
not
our
for no
two
reason.
choices? That's it, according
I've
to
got
you.
metrics for you right now. Do you want to hear them?
Okay, I've got some numbers here using for the White House and how much we should see and the viewer height and everything. So if you can see my screen grab of
Oh,
the
yeah, I'll just bring the
thing. Can
one
you see
that Ranty made up with the house we're talking
real
about,
quick,
so the audience can
right
see that
before-
as well.
right
No,
before we
go
go to
ahead,
that.
because I want to know if we're supposed to see it or not.
Okay, and
No, we're
I'm
not.
about to show you that. So
On the shoreline.
that White House that I showed you earlier in the presentation, I'll go back to it in a second, but it's 60 kilometers away. And I've put in here a viewer height of 20
It's got a
meters,
maths
which is
equation
about
on screen.
60 Sorry?
I've just got a maths equation showing
Yes.
that we've got a viewer distance at 60 kilometers.
Yeah, right. So that's the distance to the White House that I have identified, that I mentioned earlier, that I have spotted in the thing, which we saw was just above the horizon. And I've put in a viewer height of 20 meters, which is about 60 feet, which is what I believe is a fair.
So we're going
so
with
I'd be
the
less
hold on.
generous.
So just for the audience, we're going with the arbitrarily add or subtract feet with no reference.
No, there is reference. You didn't let me get to that. There you go, audience. Now.
You haven't measured it.
Hold on,
We've established that. You've not measured it.
Nathan,
feet. I'm only putting in 60. You agree like I
Nathan,
put in
I've-
100 feet.
You
I'm only
can't see
putting
it,
in
Rumpus.
60.
You're not showing us.
Nathan, I've
Sorry,
got
I'm
some
not
evidence
seeing
for you with
sorry.
regards to the observer height. Could you present my screen on Skype,
Before you,
please?
I will, Anthony, but
okay,
just before you do,
no,
Rumpus
no,
has
no,
just got the
no,
wrong
I
screen
was
on at the
going
moment.
on
I
to
just
show
want
you
Rumpus to
how
get
I
to the right
get my
screen.
observer heights, and now you're skimming over that. Didn't want to see my screen, and you're trying to move on to Anthony's projection, which is going to be wrong, as we've already
I'm trying to get on.
discussed.
No, I'm trying to let
here,
Rumpus
I'm
display the right
sharing my
screen.
now.
No, I'm
Each one
displaying
of
Rumpus.
these red arrows
Lewis
represents
is very
10
angry today.
fence
It's good
posts, which
fun.
we
Hope
previously
the audience are
agreed upon
appreciating it. We've got
being
maybe
3
five
feet.
or
Nathan,
6
trust me,
minutes
Nathan.
left.
Just play my screen, dude.
All right, just real quick. This
You're
will
in a
take
queue.
10
I can't do this for you,
10
Anthony. We've got
seconds,
Rumpus who's just got the wrong screen on. Rumpus, you've got the wrong
Each one
screen
of
on.
these, one of these red arrows. Can you see them?
No, we're
Lewis,
presenting, trying to get to Rumpus. He's got the
Well,
wrong
look,
screen
click
on.
click on my image.
You love trying to produce my show, don't you?
Click on my image.
Lewis, put a sock.
There wasn't swearing.
Click on my image.
Nathan, you need to see these pictures, dude. It'll put a
You
lot
need
of
to
height
see
observer
these
height
screens,
down to.
Anthony.
I'll go with the
Everybody
lesser of
needs to
two
see
evils
these
and put
pictures.
Anthony.
Calculation here.
Present me.
There you go,
Nathan,
Anthony,
you
you're
should
up.
present me.
Should
Right,
I?
just Lewis. This is for your
Yes.
benefit, right? Lewis, are
This
you
is for
watching the
your
screen?
benefit, Anthony. How many times do I have
Lewis,
to
are you
say
Get
it?
watching
angry,
the
Lewis.
screen,
It's
Lewis?
fun. We've got 5 minutes left. It'll keep the audience
All
really
right, great.
amused.
Are you watching?
No.
Lewis, are you seeing the screen?
Well, you should be. You should be.
Lewis, you're
Lewis,
wasting
can you
time.
see the screen?
Anthony,
I
go.
can
No,
show
they're
we're only
wasting
missing
time.
a few meters. Lewis, I've got a bit of a punchline here, and you're sabotaging it.
Well, hang on, it's on screen. Just look at the screen now.
No swearing.
Lewis, can you see the screen?
Good grief.
Right,
guys are
there's one of the.
unbelievable.
Obviously, I didn't take this picture. My partner took it with her camera from the beach. Now, how high does that look to you, given that I'm crouched? Then I walk down.
You're not.
and then I get to the
How
bottom.
high does that look? That looks higher than 35 feet, and she isn't even getting the base of the cliff in there.
Yeah, it's more than
Dude.
35 feet, I think, from that.
Look at what you're looking at. You've got the.
This is a
rocks that are
different
on the beach.
picture, Anthony. This is after you walk down.
Can I just look? Anyway, you've given us 100 feet. I'm only going to take 60 and show you what the result of that calculation is.
So we are taking arbitrary figures then that you're
No,
just
it's
making up.
Nathan, you are a
Nathan,
retard.
you said I could have 100. Now you're saying I can't have 60. Is that right?
You
Yeah,
can
but
have
you
whatever
have
you
to
want,
concede that
Rumpus.
you're
Hold
fudging
on,
the figures if you have
Rumpus.
the 100.
You can have whatever you like, so long as you accept that we have no reference point for that number you've just made
There are
up.
reference points, and I could go over them, but you don't want to see.
What are they?
You want to.
Okay, now I'll give the floor to Lewis. We've got 3
so
minutes.
I can give you
Lewis,
reference points.
Lewis, you go ahead. You've got the screen.
Additional viewer height. I'm gonna. We can test this viewer height later.
60 foot. Can we
I was
see?
allowed to have 100. I'm only using. I'm putting 25. I'm putting 25 meters, which is what 65 odd. No, that's going to be 75 feet. Okay, so I was offered 100. I'm going to take 75. Okay, and then the distance to that White House that I showed you was 60 kilometers that I identified. Well, I identified exactly what the house is, so I know exactly how far it is away. And what's more, I also know exact height, which is 97 meters. So I should be able to. So put in 25.
I know the exact
for-
height of the target object, but we're just going to make up the observer height, right?
Not
Just
made
so-
up, Nathan. We've been over this. Keep going,
I was
Rumpus.
told
I think the
could use
words
100 feet,
Rumpus
but you
used
said
were,
75.
I'm going to
No,
take... I think the words Rumpus used were, I'm going to
Nathan,
take
Nathan, you're
20
wrong. Keep
meters.
going, Rumpus.
I'm going to take 20 meters. Not from anywhere particular, not from any particular reference
I mean,
point.
Anthony-
Just,
Anthony,
I'm
you
going to
got
take
100
20
feet.
meters.
75
An
feet.
arbitrary figure that Rumpus has made up. But he then
no,
tells
no,
us
no.
immediately
You said
how
I'd take 100
detailed
feet.
the target object height is.
Nathan,
Wonderful,
you said I'd
Rumpus.
take 100 feet.
Beautiful.
I'm taking 75.
Lovely way to
There's
round
no
out the show,
clarification
Rumpus.
in the
Your
height, we
arbitrary
can't
figures
agree.
that you pluck out of the
This
air.
evidence should be dismissed
right.
then, shouldn't
Okay.
it?
Right, look, Nathan. Also, there's a 5
Yeah, but
meter
either way you
time.
look at it, Rumpus, there's still a problem. So
No, there isn't.
No,
Will you
there's
let
no
me
Get
do the
angry.
flipping
Go on, Rumpus. Get
calculation?
really
We'll
annoyed.
see.
No, they're going to not let you do it.
Wonderful ending.
Right, so I'm
minutes
going to.
left.
We
They're
can
gonna not
change
let you
the
do it.
observer height later, but let's
That's what
for the
happened
moment.
last time.
Where's
for
the missing
moment,
curve,
I'm gonna
Rumpus?
use 25 meters.
Where's the missing curvature? Why isn't Earth obstructing our view,
See,
Rumpus?
Stroll, shill. Look at you, Nathan. No.
Why isn't the Earth obstructing our view, Rumpus? I just don't get it. Anyway,
Nathan, just
with
put,
that,
just
I'll
put my
say
thing
a
on
massive.
screen,
Hold on,
and
I'm going
let's
to turn
finish
you
on
down
this.
to Anthony. So with that, I'm going to say a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and, of course, for sharing this show. But more importantly, a massive thank you to the live panel for making this debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.